You're listening to GCN. Great Talk Radio starts here. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, now that Bozo, traitor, globalist, banker frontman, foreign New World Order occupier, puppeteer, and puppet himself, Obama, now that he has been forced to cover healthcare.gov instead of distracting people with the so-called partial government shutdown, folks are freaking out as they learn that nobody can sign up, that it's doubling premiums bare minimum. And even Consumer Reports has come out and said, stay away from healthcare.gov because it's a giant scam and basically steals your data. We told you this 2 weeks ago when it launched. Any computer programmer could go and see that it wasn't just broken, it was a fraud. The truth is, they don't want to implement the so-called freebie parts of it, and they never will. They're only going to implement the tax part where you get $5,000 fines and more when you can't sign up for it. So the goal is that you not be able to sign up for it, and then it just becomes something like the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. It just turns into this new system of where healthcare is all screwed up and costs more, and the insurance companies can do whatever they want. They're the same ones that screwed up healthcare, the big ones, and who wrote it to shut down their competition, and who wrote it to lower the quality of care. But it doesn't matter. The lottery ticket crowd, and I'm not saying you're a bad person who buy a lottery ticket for fun, and it's something you like to do for the suspense or whatever, that you might be struck by a meteorite when you sit there and tune in and watch the show, because you've got about as good a chance at winning a big lottery as being hit by a meteorite or struck by lightning 3 times in 1 year. In fact, the only thing that's more rare than winning a major lottery is being struck by a meteorite. So you have a better chance of winning the lottery. It's true. But it's that same mentality of folks that really think, well, it doesn't matter if I got big bills and I'm going bankrupt. I'm going to go take my entire welfare check and I'm going to go fence it for cash so I can go buy $500 worth of lottery tickets. And then you go buy your $500 worth of lottery tickets and you sit there desperately and you don't win anything. Or you go buy the other type of scratch-off stuff and you spend $500 and you win $300. But still feel like you won $300 even though you lost $200. That mindset is what they're counting on. People are just going to clamor, and they're not going to get mad and say, we don't want Obamacare now. They're going to say, do whatever you got to do to make it work. And anybody that's against Obamacare, you're the ones now messing it up. And I told you this was coming. Obama says that it's been a big success. We've got his Rose Garden speech coming up. He's saying it's been a big success, and he's blamed the problems with it on the government shutdown. I told you that was coming. I just know how their brain works. In fact, before they were even saying any of this, I said last week, I said, you watch. They are going to blame this on the government shutdown, even though healthcare.gov came out right before it. Up on drudgereport.com, emergency surgery. Obama calls in techies for the fix. Best and brightest drafted, like a Manhattan Project, SOS. Hospitals face whole new world. Sebelius is on the run, won't go to Congress to testify. 5 million lines of software code need to be rewritten. Yeah, it's literally like they had monkeys on PCP at typewriters in there writing the code. I mean, we've gone and done articles about it showing the code. It's like that weird computer speak that doesn't mean anything, just random, just here, yeah, pay me for the job, here it is. A monkey with a typewriter could do a better job, literally. Because you wouldn't laugh. 5 million lines of software code need to be rewritten. Credibility, death spiral. Consumer Reports, stay away from healthcare.gov. Enrollees pose with President in Rose Garden. Some lady fell over. Obama late to his own presser on Obama glitches, blames it on shutdown, says it's a good deal.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, the 21st day of October, 2013. I am Alex Jones, your host. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours, Lord willing. Greg Palast, investigative journalist with ABC News, BBC, you name it, will be joining us to give you intel on the government shutdown, on the banker bailouts, on what's happening in Europe, what's happening with QE Unlimited, and the dollar. News too hot for even the BBC and Newsnight. So he'll be joining us at the bottom of the next hour. Then we are going to be joined in studio by the one, the only, John McAfee, who is McAfee.com, GregPalast.com. Both those gentlemen are going to be joining us today. Palast via Skype, McAfee in studio, coming to Austin to visit with me. So I look forward to that, getting his take on the whole world, the NSA, his adventures, getting back into the United States, and so much more. And his take on healthcare.gov's failure, all of it. By the way, the best coverage out there, bar none, on what's happening with healthcare.gov and the death spiral, as it's being called, of credibility for Obozo and his miscreant followers is at drudgereport.com. Emergency surgery. Obama just completed a Rose Garden speech and some woman collapsed. Obama calls in techies for the fix, calling it a new Manhattan project to get it repaired. Well, you can't fix what was designed to be broken. Best and brightest drafted. Emergency SOS issued. Hospitals face whole new world under Obamacare. Sebelius will not testify before Congress, even though she's been ordered to appear. 5 million lines of software code needs to be rewritten. We've had software engineers on 2.5 weeks ago who showed copies of the code on TV for our radio listeners. They can always go to Infowars.com/show and see the free video feed. But we actually showed the code in articles on Infowars.com that Mike Adams first broke from naturalnews.com dealing with this, where it was designed to not work. It wasn't just bad code. It was gibberish. It was just having 14 monkeys chained up to word processors, feeding them a mixture of PCP, Mountain Dew, and Hot Pockets, and methamphetamine, just wildly typing. I mean, they didn't say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over again. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I mean, that would have at least said something, even though it was said hundreds and hundreds of times in The Shining. No, I mean, that at least made some sense, at least it did to me. But the point is that we're dealing with monkeys on PCP and Mountain Dew chained up, typing this as a complete joke on everyone. And now they can take 6 months, a year, whatever, to, quote, make it work. And by then, you'll just be accustomed to the fact that you now just have to pay giant fines if you don't have the original healthcare system, and that the insurance companies are allowed to double the premiums on you, bare minimum, while lowering the type of care you get, and then getting rid of original charity care. That's why 15 years ago they phased out do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath of Medicine, because now it's exterminate people as fast as possible for the New World Order, kill one granny, hire 10 teachers, a la Bill Gates, a la the case for killing Granny Newsweek cover. So I told you, this is the plan, and this is how pirates operate, and believe me, they are laughing intensely over this right now, because the lottery ticket mentality of the Obozo followers clearly states that the law of the lottery ticket purchaser, and again, I'm not saying you're bad if you buy an occasional lottery ticket just for fun or as a diversion, but people that really think that's their business plan in life is they're going to win a big multi-million-dollar lottery. Again, they've got a better chance of finding a leprechaun with a pot of gold at the end of it, or maybe a unicorn in their backyard. I mean, this is ridiculous. They are going to now defend the program even more and say that anyone that criticizes it, you're the ones keeping them from their goodie, because vicious offshore banks that run giant death camp operations in China with suicide nets, they're liberal and trendy, and these big mega banks that wrote the Obozo Care, they really love poor Americans. Even though they set up total slave grids worldwide, in this exception, they really want to give you something free because they care about you and want to take long walks down forest paths with you and kiss you all day. They're not predators. They're not vicious. You didn't get scammed. You didn't get had. Those of us that don't like Obamacare, and we're right about it, we're the bad men. And indeed, that's now being said. Obozo said during his press conference that the glitches are due to the government shutdown, and that it's, quote, a really good deal. And wait, it gets better. He just finished his speech a few minutes ago. We're going to get this clip. This is the best part. Exceeding expectations. Oh, yes. And actually it is. It actually is exceeding expectations in a big way, because they've been able to already more than double the average premium and more than triple the average deductible from around $2,000 to around $6,400. So it is exceeding the expectation of the raping the American people with a giant red-hot poker while pouring acid over your head. I mean, yes, it is a great deal. Kind of like when Al Gore on Larry King Live back in 1993 said, Larry, this is a good deal. Don't listen to Ross Perot. NAFTA and GAD will raise our wages, which actually have gone down, not just via inflation, but literal wages, according to 1993 numbers, are down compared to that date just in cold, hard cash. But see, Al Gore, he said it was a good deal. And the unions all signed on to it because they like Democrats. And how did that go for you, NAFTA and GAD? I couldn't laugh. I'm just sorry. I was actually out there right before the show started in the coffee room, and he was up on television, and I heard him say that. I heard him say that it's exceeded expectations, and as he looked back and forth at the teleprompter, and I just cannot handle it anymore with this group of morons surrounding him, all getting off on being near the president. I mean, I just cannot imagine it. Excuse me, I'm kind of having a meltdown here of my own. Obama healthcare website problems. Inexcusable, though, but that healthcare deal itself is exceeding expectations and is a good deal, and he's hiring an emergency team to get in there and fix it as soon as they can. And if we don't stand up to these folks, they'll be having healthcare summits 10 years from now, like the Middle Eastern, Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Total diversion. There is no peace process. It's just a way to keep it going off into the future as part of a fake process forever. And this is the same thing. The bill is a success, just like the drug war is a success for the big 6 banks that launder $500 billion North American dollars a year, over $1 trillion worldwide, controlling the narcotics trade, owning the aircraft, funding the mercenaries, loaning them the money for the arms. It's an incredible success, having the biggest prison population in the world, filled with nonviolent offenders, working for the big narcotics cartels and the banks that own the private prisons. The drug war is a smashing, total, absolute, devastator success for the crime syndicates, who also run the child kidnapping rings and other things on the side, publicly. So, big success there. Obamacare is a devastating success. Obama is a devastating success for the New World Order, crushing the lemmings, crushing the American people, shutting down the power plants, federalizing the schools, trying to open the borders up, legalizing the illegals to drive down wages by fiat. He's just devastating the republic right now. But he'll be called a failure and fade off into the distance. But it won't matter. He would have gotten his job done. So hats off to Obama if you love the New World Order and are rooting for the 6,000 globalist superclass. So emergency surgery. Oh, well, yes. Like in Hellraiser, when one of the guys is going to do surgery on somebody, he wants to help you. Emergency, or kind of like the Manson clan did surgery on Sharon Tate. Yes, they're going to do special surgery. Obama calls in techies for the fix. Best and brightest drafted. SOS. Hospitals face whole new world as the whole healthcare system is wrecked. Sebelius on the run. 5 million lines of software code needed to be rewritten. So chimpanzees rewriting it didn't work, so now they're going to bring in orangutans. Credibility death spiral. No. Consumer Reports, stay away from healthcare.gov. It's an identity theft operation. Oh, really? Really? I didn't know that. Oh, trendy, though. Continuing, enrollees pose with president in Rose Garden. Obama late to his own presser on Obama glitches. He blames the glitches on shutdown. It's a good deal. I mean, you just cannot make up how thoroughly disgusting it is. And then right below it is an Infowars.com article. Americans signed petition to support Nazi-style Orwellian police state. And Mark Dice very clearly, to people that speak good English, people with American accents, says we're going to take the rights and set up Nazi Germany in America for Obama. And if it's for Obama, well, then absolutely Heil Hitler. That's what I've always explained here. I mean, it's like Schwarzenegger can say he loves Kurt Waldheim and loves Hitler and loves the SS in Rolling Stone interviews and on video, and it's fine. I say I want smaller government, the Second Amendment. The Southern Poverty Law Center says I'm basically a Nazi with absolutely no proof, and so does the MSNBC. MSNBC publicly says that I am deeply racist and behind the Boston bombing with no proof. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Nazi, and that's good. he's liberal and loving because he wants your guns. And he wants carbon taxes. So it's okay to be an actual Nazi and actually wear death's heads in public and SS uniforms.
So, you've decided to get prepared. You're not sure that a case of ramen and a couple of granola bars under your bed will cut it as long-term food storage anymore. You're in luck. At Emergency Essentials, we have all the resources to get you started. From 3-day emergency bug-out bags to year supplies of food and everything in between. Call Emergency Essentials at 800-999-1863 or visit beprepared.com. The choice is clear. Be unprepared or beprepared.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
With over 3,000 years of historic use, pure silver continues to be one of nature's most reliable and effective agents against fighting viruses, mold, fungus, bacteria, pathogens, and parasites. At Silver Lungs, we have developed a reliable and easy-to-use full production system for creating endless pure nano-silver solutions right from the convenience and comfort of your home. Your self-produced nano-silver solutions can be applied topically to the skin. For many who are new to silver that wish to try silver for the first time, we offer a full line of consumables and cosmetics, such as our 2-ounce nano-silver nasal sprays, our nano-silver soap, and our most popular product, the all-natural nano-silver gel. Visit www.silverlungs.com to learn more about the industry-leading technology of the Silver Lungs system. That's www.silverlungs.com.
And now, an important sponsored message for men only from GetEDSolutions.com. Men who were formerly taking ED medication are now reporting that a secret underground video has restored their male performance better than pills. These men say this secret underground video is bringing back the male performance and sensation they've been missing for years, and it's working better than pills.
Things are so much better now. Everything kind of came back overnight. My girlfriend is very happy.
I purchased your product yesterday, and it was fantastic.
I have used your system for about 3 weeks, and I'm already seeing great results.
The owner of this video has reported the overwhelming bandwidth costs may necessitate his taking this video down. Don't miss watching this urgent video on fixing male performance while it's still up at GetEDSolutions.com. There may only be hours left, so watch now at GetEDSolutions.com. GetEDSolutions.com. GetEDSolutions.com.
Time and time again.
You need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Those we should be able to depend on let us down.
Federal and state and local officials saying help is on the way. Well, the folks here in Bell Harbor say, show me.
Don't depend on the government to save you. Take action now so that you're prepared for the next disaster with MyPatriotSupply.com. Get the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Call 866-229-0927.
We are hurting down here, and we need help immediately.
Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Don't worry, this show is documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
I went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
And it burns, burns, burns.
You know, the taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet.
The ring of fire. The ring of fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live up on Infowars.com. A lot of wild news. Remember last week when one of the stenographers got up and she started giving a speech about how they were men of the devil and Freemasons and all this stuff? Well, it turns out there's this video that Watson posted up on Infowars.com of her being totally normal and some guy talking to her, and then she goes into what looks like a trance, like a robot, and then marches in to give the speech and take over. Very, very bizarre. Top Democrat opens door for Social Security cuts. Told you that was coming. They're not going to let the baby boomers get the Social Security, folks. I mean, come on. They're going to phase it out. They've done it in every country. They follow the same program to get you domesticated, get you socialized. You'll end up, maybe, if you retire in the next few years, by the time you die at 76 on average, if say if you retire at 65, you might get half your money. But let's continue. Americans have signed petition to support Nazi-style Orwellian police state. We're going to play that coming up. We have photos of the protest against pro-gun rally in San Antonio. Gets virtually no participants. I think max 5 people. Look like 4 to me. 12 shocking clues about what America will look like when the next great economic crisis strikes. Healthcare.gov running on hope and change. You mean running on BS and lies? Report massive vulnerability detected in national power grid. There is no way to stop it. Very important Mark Slavo article. That's just some of the news up on Infowars.com. But look at this political correctness article I'm going to get to in a moment from DrudgeReport.com. I'm going to cover it in just a second. First off, let me give the number out for everybody who wants to talk about Obamacare. And have you been able to sign up for it? We're talking about that. That's what I'm opening the phones up for. I want to hear from you. Has your premium gone down? No one I know says their premium's gone down. Everyone I know says it's doubled. Everyone I know says at least a doubling. From Geraldo Rivera to myself, our insurance is doubling. And it's set to double again in the next couple of years. That is a very Affordable Care Act. See how the name's a big joke? Remember Obama in the State of the Union said, don't worry, you don't like the TSA groping you? The body scanners, you're going to be able to go on trains. And he laughed, and Biden laughed behind him because they knew they had just rolled out groping stations at the train stations. See, it's all about pimping you, gaming you. It's all about the big joke with these guys. It's all about being disloyal, being gangsterish. And so that happened. I want to get your take on this. We've already broken down 2.5 weeks ago that the computer code, when it went live 17 days ago, was a fraud. It just isn't real. It's fake. And they know that. It doesn't have glitches, folks. It isn't there. It's there to grab your data. And it's come out in the news, it's piped to the NSA. They can see where it's routed. Well, of course they're going to use the NSA. That's the big servers. And so you're just in an NSA database giving them data. But, of course, the government couldn't even do that right, so the building keeps catching on fire with power surges blowing up the billion-dollar computer systems. The building literally keeps having fires every day. Talk about a cursed Tower of Babel. I want to get your take on this. 800-259-9231. And if you're an Obamacare supporter, I would like to hear from you as well. Let me give the number out for you. 800-259-9231. You called in last week and told us you don't care. You think you'll get it free down the road, so it doesn't matter if it wrecks everything. You still think Obama loves you. I understand. You're like a 3-year-old that gets in the car because the man says he has a puppy and candy. And of course, really, he traps you down and tortures you and rapes you for 6 weeks before killing you. I mean, you just can't help. But you're not like a 3-year-old, folks. I mean, you got to be smarter than that. But I understand you want to get hurt and hurt bad. I understand. Racial slur. Government blocks Asian American band from trademarking the slants. And they made a big deal out of it, saying that they're reclaiming the term, the argument worked for dykes on bikes. It's a reference to musical chords. That's what I thought, and I'm not even a musical person. They're surveyed Asian Americans and said they didn't find it offensive. They had Duke University linguists analyze the words. They made a big stunt out of it as well. And they said, well, you're not allowed to have that. Folks, you understand the tyranny of this? If they say Davy Crockett's racist next, you can't trademark that. The government should just give it to you if it's not used by somebody else first. The government shouldn't be bringing in this type of tyranny. So they're just teaching you out there that you have no free speech and can't do business in this country. That's what this is really about. This is authoritarianism. Now, if you want to abort black babies, that's fine. But
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Financial experts are certain that within 12 to 36 months, the American economy will collapse, pushing most Americans into terrifying poverty, like third world slums. Facing this unstoppable horror and knowing so many are unprepared, a group of military vets, engineers, survival experts, and a former FDIC bank inspector pooled their knowledge and experience to create LocustsOnTheHorizon.com. Locusts on the Horizon is a book over 1,100 pages in length, which many are now calling one of the best of its kind. And this book can save families from the worst an economic collapse can bring. The lives of your family are priceless, and you can start your plan to save them today for only $4.99. Not many preppers can actually afford a survival retreat, but virtually anyone can afford to implement the plan of Locusts on the Horizon. Locusts on the Horizon is available now for only $4.99 on Amazon.com, and it's readable with free software on any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Your time is running out. To not prepare would be suicide. Prepare now at LocustsOnTheHorizon.com. That's LocustsOnTheHorizon.com.
When an emergency happens, you'll be left to fend for yourself and your family. An outbreak of contagious disease can happen anywhere, and the threat of bioterrorism is always at hand. Because we're faced with more diseases than ever before, we need a better solution than ever before. Fortunately, there's a simple, effective way to protect yourself. Supernatural Silver offers a safe and effective means of fighting pathogens and can help defeat the root of these problems. Supernatural Silver is effective against more than 500 different disease-causing pathogens without encouraging drug resistance and without side effects. Supernatural Silver is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and give you and your loved ones a fighting chance. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code October 2013 for 20% off your entire order and like us on Facebook.
Oh, yes, we're live.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Take me live.
What we are looking at is good and evil.
Right and wrong. New world order.
A new world order. A new world order. A new world order. A new world order. We're not about to make that same mistake.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on this Monday transmission. Your phone calls are coming up. By the way, I told you I've been doing deep research into water fluoridation and how it began in the 1920s in the first gulag set up by Lenin and then Stalin, and how Hitler, during the Russian-German pact that they had to split up Poland, was advised on how to put bromine and sodium fluoride in the water. And, of course, that had actually come from England and the U.S., where they would give kids bromine and other pills. And now I'm pulling up all the mainstream articles I've actually been able to pull up. We're putting a commercial together for the iodine we sell. actually showing magazine ads from 1910, 1912 are the ones we found, advertising these different bromine fluoride pills that you would give people who were hyperactive or who were upset or kids that weren't doing what you're told. It would turn them into zombies, basically. And I actually found a medical report on this, an actual medical paper by Guy E. Abraham, medical doctor, breaking down this program. I want to show TV viewers this. I'm going to go to your phone calls. Here it is on page 20 of this study. Quotes a bunch of studies, this medical paper. Therefore, bromine has a zombifying potential. Why iodine was replaced with GOITORGEN, possessing carcinogenic and zombifying potentials in a population already very iodine deficient, even by very low RDA standard, remains a mystery. Nevertheless, it is a very effective way to keep a nation sick and zombified. This is a medical paper. This is from 2004, but I've got papers from 1890s and 1920 and all of it. And then, of course, so now I've learned it's not just in Pulitzer Prize-winning books about World War II, 2 of them. It's also, and the Nuremberg trials, this was old technology being used in England and the United States. You'd go to the local drugstore, the apothecary, and say, my kids are not doing what I tell them. They're jumping around, whatever. And they say, just give them these pills. And then you would give them to people to make them behave. And they would also put other chemicals like saltpeter until the 50s on young people at camp in the summer when you had boys and girls camps together so they wouldn't have sex. I mean, this is a whole chemical weapons program. And I know that I know it and you know it, but I mean, it's all documented mainline history why they put bromine and fluoride in the water. They're all in the same, let me show folks periodic table right here. The halides, discovery in chronological order, chloride was found in 1809 in France. Iodine was found in France in 1811. Bromide was found in France in 1826. Fluoride was found in France in 1886. And then they discovered another halide in the U.S. in statin, yeah, a statin. But the point is you can see these on the periodic table, basically. And you notice now they're wanting to put the statins in the water. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a chemical warfare operation. And I know we know that. I always mention it, but I never show it anymore. Will you go give me that eco-science over there real quick? You guys can walk in front of the cameras. It's fine. Thank you. You can read from 1974 when they published it, the White House science czar talking about it. And you realize that no wonder Americans can't resist anything. No wonder people act like zombies and we have a lower IQ and lower brain waves. Thank you. We have been hit by chemical warfare. By the way, this book was selling for like $10 on eBay and places until I started plugging it 5 years ago, talking about it. So it was then selling for thousands in some cases. There's no need to buy an original. The whole thing's been scanned in by major universities and is online. Eco-science, population, resources, and environment. And this was adopted by the early 80s as official U.S. government policy. So just like State Department Memorandum 200 was. So I would suggest, that's one weird thing about having a big syndicated radio show. I can like make any book I want. If it's a rare book, super rare. That was not our intention. It's just we've noticed that happens. But here's Eco-Science. You can read the whole thing free online. Paul R. Ehrlich, who says reduce the population by 90%. His wife, Annie Ehrlich, and John P. Holdren. And the point is, you can argue there's too many people. But the issue is they're doing it to everybody, and they're trying to reduce population in the most advanced nations. And then they're trying to block development in the third world, which would actually reduce third world populations, but at a manageable, happy level where, you know, the average person has like 1.3 kids, like every other industrialized country. And then you've actually got a problem of collapse of civilization. We need 2.1 That's sustainable. Once you build a civilization this big, if you don't have sustainability numbers, all the statistics and actuaries show, you have collapse of society. But that's why they're building Agenda 21 to create that artificial collapse that is going to be quite hellish, where you don't have enough people to take care of the old folks. By the way, there are less people in the West by about 1.4. For every 2 baby boomers born, there's about 1.4 on average. If you average in Japan, Italy, Germany, the U.S., Canada, all the industrialized nations, there's about 1.4. Some places are as low as 1.2, but about 1.4 on average. You need 2.1 just to take care of the old people. Every 2 parents have 2.1 children in the average. At 1.4, they're going to euthanize all of you. So just be ready. And then folks that are my age, I'm already now 40 in a couple months, they're going to euthanize my butt real fast. Doesn't matter how much money I got, doesn't matter. If I'm not an insider, I'm not going to get life extension, none of it. And none of you are as well, you yuppies out there that think you're part of the power structure, because you can go to some Obama event or some Republican event and have them pat you on the head. All right, I said I'd go to your phone calls. My point is that we've sold out of the most amazing nascent iodine out there. The consumer reviews are coming in. We're going to be doing some articles on those soon. People are blown away by it. This stuff on record, you can see all the details and facts at InfoWarsLife.com, is a shield against the fluoride, the bromide, the bromine, the garbage, a detoxifier, and a shield against new fluoride. It is survival shield, and it's the only proprietary nascent iodine. You know, when I had my dad look into this about 3 months ago, when I looked into manufacturing it myself from the only lab in the country that can do it, who put out small amounts, he went and he said, my gosh, this is the National Federation of Scientists and all these special certifications and some special machine, the only one in the country. And my goodness, this is special stuff, because I had him doing due diligence and everything, because he's a oral surgeon and a dentist, and also has a degree in biology, has also developed patented drugs separately. And he said, man, this stuff is something else. This isn't regular iodine. And so that's the point I'm getting across to you folks. We only bring you the most amazing stuff. The problem is that they are having to expand, and they're done now. They've put it in a bigger bottling system. They had to have a bunch of zoning stuff done and a bunch of inspectors, and just had the FDA back in for it and everything to crank up to produce enough to be able to supply everybody. So they're making it right now. It'll be here in about 2 weeks. If you want to be first in line to get the most amazing nascent iodine out there, this is it, folks. True atomic iodine, the thyroid and so much more. And then it supercharges, according to all the experts we've had on, all the other natural hormone levels. My only problem is, and everybody's noticed it, I am literally crazed now. I have like double the energy. Folks, do I have double the energy? No, obviously not twice the craziness, but no, I mean, I'm just supercharged. Well, I mean, go ahead and come on air, CJ. How have I been the last 2 months on this?
You've been more aware, more fast-paced, quick to notice things you didn't previously.
Yeah, it's incredible. And that's exactly what Dr. Group said. But anyways, we'll see what happens for you out there.
Your vision's been sharper. You see things you don't normally notice. We can't keep anything from you.
Are you on air saying all that?
Yes.
Anyways, the point is that I'm telling you, folks, they don't want you to be healthy. They put bromide and fluoride in the stinking water and food to turn you into a zombie. I can't imagine what I would be like if I had not been exposed to fluoride most of my life and had proper levels of iodine. I guess I've always ate a lot of red meat. My mom's always used gourmet salts and tried to always get organic food, so I guess I've had a leg up, even though I've done a lot of bad things in my lifestyle as well. I didn't mean to go off into a long plug. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. They have a patented on-record way at the laboratory we use to make this stuff, and it's the first of a long line of products we're developing. The problem is they were waiting for one thing from the Himalayas that comes out of the rocks. I've been waiting like 3 months for this giant purchase of that to come in, just to mix it with this detox thing we're coming out with. I mean, we could just throw stuff in a bottle and sell it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to promote the best stuff out there that is revolutionary against the globalist. So again, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Enough of me. I want to get into Obamacare. If you want to read that study, it's the safe and effective implementation of ortho dose supplementation Am I pronouncing that right? The safe and effective implementation of ortho-dose supplementation in medical practice. Is that right? By Dr. How do you say it? Ortho-iota. As Richard Reeves brought me this study because he was digging around through all these studies about how they would sell stuff in drugstores in the 1850s on to like give your kids to make them zombies so they'd behave. They just said, hey, put it in the water for everybody. All right, I'm sorry. Here's some of the other news we've got, and we're going to your calls. Food stamps benefits going down before the holidays. Millions of American families could face the sparse holiday table when food stamp benefits get reduced in November, and that could be just part of a deeper cuts to the program to feed poor families. The modern-day food stamp plan, now called the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, is scheduled to scale back. And it's got these women all on there who I guess aren't going to be able to get food. Look at those poor ladies. Imagine if they had iodine. I'm sorry. It's just very sad. And it just goes over the whole point that the SNAP program is going to be cut. Yeah, because Obama's been reelected now. They got to give those extra hundreds of billions to foreign banks. So you're not going to be getting your food stamps. So there you go. But don't worry, Homeland Security with armored vehicles is standing by if you don't like it. Let's go ahead. See, they ship your jobs out, shut down the economy, raise the taxes on businesses so they can't hire you. And then you just become domesticated. And look, these social engineers know. That's why when you go to a park, they say don't feed the pigeons, don't feed the aquatic life, don't feed the squirrels because they'll become domesticated and won't be able to take care of themselves. But when it comes to the general population, that's what they want. Let's go ahead and talk to Beth in Tennessee. Beth, give us your take on Obamacare and what you think of it.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I think Obamacare is a rape of the American citizen. Insurance for my husband and I have now gone up $600 for the year. We have higher deductibles, higher copay, less treatment. We're just upset about the whole mess.
Are you a racist? Are you a racist?
I am not a racist. I served in the Army. We saw green. That's the only color we saw.
Well, ma'am, you know if you criticize anything Obama does, you're a racist. MSNBC said it. Do you want to apologize for your racism?
I do not apologize. I apologize that there aren't enough people in our country awake and they don't get rid of all of this crap that's going on. I have a story, and this is why I got on the phone with you today. We listen every day, Prison Planet customers.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have your magazine delivered. We have the ProPure filter. We just got the iodine.
Thank you.
We do all of Dr. Wallach's drugs. Anyway, or not drugs, nutrients.
Well, nutrients are basically like drugs.
Thrown in prison for that.
No. You take all of our racist stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I know. My husband and I are off work on Monday, so we went to the grocery store this morning. We neither one drink alcohol too much, but we were going down the aisle, saw the Woodchuck Fall hard cider with the nutmeg and whatnot, and I said, Tom, I want to get some of that. So we get to the checkout lane, and I get carded. And I said, this is an honor. I haven't been carded since I was 21, 30 years ago. So she said, well, we can't finish this transaction until, we get ID now. And so
yeah, and at first the feds started this, telling corporations to do it about a decade ago. First they would just look at it. Then they would enter the date of birth. Now they swipe it, and it's going into a healthcare database. They're phasing it in, slave training. Did she swipe your card?
I don't know. But when I
No. I've seen them. I've seen them as a test buying alcohol. They will swipe it, and it's going into a database at the larger stores. They're phasing it in. And this is getting you ready for when you'll have to do that to buy and sell, even when you use cash as part of the cashless society control grid.
Exactly. Well, it got me more upset. And by the time we got home, I said, do you suppose they swiped my card? Well, then this clerk proceeded to say that they now have to card for lighter fluid. I said, you have got to be kidding me. And she said, no, the government says that it's for use in drugs, and they actually send government people in and pretend just so they make sure people are being
and again, there's no law. They started it with the pseudoephedrine. and then did pass state laws. But no, they're just doing it until everything, you're going to be carded for everything. They admit they have these big consortium meetings with all the big IT people and the digital biometrics companies. We've covered it on air, where they say, you're not just going to get carded in the future to buy and sell. You're going to have an implantable microchip. This is official. The head of Google came out and said you will soon have brain chips to use the phone.
I want to say something to our top military brass, active and retired, and anybody else in our federal agencies that have the power and the knowledge to know what's going on so they can do what they need to do.
Racist.
And remove all of our politicians out, get them out of there, all of them. Not one is worth anything, Alex. We need to do something, and we will gather if those...
Well, I appreciate your call, Beth, but that's pretty racist. Thank you. Look, if you like family, if you like to own firearms, it's racist. And I want to apologize for my racism as well. I'm being sarcastic, of course. This is authoritarianism. They're taking over. We better resist it now, or we can all become Walmartians and wander around Walmarts drinking our Prozac. We'll be right back with Jeffrey and many others straight ahead. Stay with us.
There are those curious about Bitcoins and those using and making money with Bitcoins. What are Bitcoins? A Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that can be easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees, and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. You are in control of your money. And the best part? You can start earning and making money with Bitcoins right away. No computer or expertise is required to earn money with Bitcoins, and a growing number of merchants now accept Bitcoins. Plus, they're easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. Learn more about the easiest, cheapest, most profitable way to enter the Bitcoin market and get paid every 2 weeks by one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. That's cloudhashing.com. We mine your business.
That's the sound of a .44 Magnum and Trauma Max, a high-tech hybrid Kevlar bulletproof vest from InfidelBodyArmor.com. Will stop it and most pistol rounds. Trauma Max is a major breakthrough in pistol-rated body armor, and prices start at just $170 per insert. More protection, more stopping power, more mobility, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Get details at InfidelBodyArmor.com. That's INFIDEL BodyArmor.com.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders on the storm.
There's a killer on the road.
There's a killer on the road.
I want to take a long holiday.
His brain is squirming like a toad.
Let my children play.
Take a long holiday. Let your children play.
Man, I just love that guy's voice. What about you?
If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road.
His brain is squirming like a toad. Let's go back to your phone calls here. We do have Greg Palast with breaking intel on the banker takeover of the planet, what's happening in Europe, the latest with the dollar, the QE, Unlimited, what the hedge fund hyenas are doing. Investigative journalist, former top federal fraud investigator Greg Palast will be joining us at the bottom of the next hour. We're also going to have Mr. McAfee, John McAfee, the guy, talk about the NSA and more in studio. So that should be quite interesting to meet him in person. He's arriving in about 45 minutes. He's already here in Austin. Ismond in Minnesota. Then we'll talk to Chris, George, Jeffrey, and others. What is your take on Obamacare?
Oh, you mean Obamacare, sir?
What, did you say gang raping the Obamacare? Or what did you say?
Oh, yeah, Obamacare?
Oh, booger care. I couldn't tell what you were saying.
My MA went up by double, I believe. I took a look at it just today. I had to go out and get my bank statement.
By the way, don't worry. They say it's going to double again because it's affordable care.
I already know it is. I heard somebody else say on, I think it was your radio show, that, no, it was Coast to Coast AM, that whatever they say in something like that, always think the opposite.
Well, no, that's what the character Winston Smith in 1984 did. In fact, the British used to actually say that. Don't believe anything till it's been officially denied. This morning, I saw about 75 motorcycle cops on the way into home standing there, bugging their eyes out at people, making the road slow down, but then acting like traffic cops. So I rolled by one at 1 mile an hour, and I said, what's going on? And he said, don't worry about it. I thought I was in New York City. Don't worry about it. Hey, you know what? Nobody's going to worry about that guy's pension either. You know, we have this attitude of where, I mean, how do you get an Austin cop? Because they're not bad compared to a lot of cities I've been in. Mixed in with Travis County Sheriff's deputies, whatever they were doing out on 290. How do you get them to the point of bugging their eyes out and getting mad at someone if you politely say, hey, what's going on? And the cops, there was two of them, just their mouths hung open. They went, it's like we went to the NSA to talk to their PR person. Their mouths were hanging open. It's like, you just talk to me? That's going to be a death sentence soon, bud. Because we're so free. But I guess you got a fluoride-headed population, so they're used to that. The average public, I see them when they see a cop, they like a dog that's scared. They almost roll over on their back and start peeing on themselves. So I would expect then that I guess cops just get used to that and think of us as like lowly worm-like creatures. Though I did run into a lot of cool cops down in San Antonio this weekend. Anything else, sir? Anything else racist you'd like to say? I think calling foreign bank-run rape care meant to rob everyone and a lower standard of care and wreck our healthcare system is racist to call it booger care. Do you want to apologize to boogers?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, boogers. I didn't mean to actually have an opinion that wasn't given to me by the media, a.k.a. the meat. But here's something else I want to say real quick, Mr. Jones.
Go ahead, racist. Go ahead, racist.
Yes, the United States of America is slowly becoming the United...
Your phone's breaking up, racist.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother. Mainstream media. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Our republic is in the midst of a foreign corporate takeover. The federal government's been almost completely captured. Our military, trained to recognize things like that, is waking up because they see it. They're being forced to train to take on gun owners, libertarians, returning veterans. So that's the good news. The bad news is that the globalists are just moving forward. They're now destroying the already damaged healthcare system as we predicted, as was planned. They've done this other places. And just preparing everyone to learn that they don't get free health care because the computer didn't work. I mean, it's just all about a giant scam. And we predicted this would happen. I mean, it's not like we're rocket scientists. We know the enemy we fight. And as soon as the public realizes they've been conned and just how much trouble we're in, we can begin to dig ourselves out of this. The problem is the average Homeland Security personnel have been handpicked, psychologically tested to be imperious. In fact, in the Homeland Security ads that we've covered, they say, are you imperious? Meaning domineering, hateful towards the public? Well, then we want you. And they tell them that's how you project confidence, is swagger around in Judge Dredd outfits, bugging your eyes out at people. So Obozo care is falling apart. Right now, let's just go back to your calls. Chris in Nevada, you're on the air. Welcome. Thank you for holding.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, brother.
Hey, I'm the one that you told me that the military soft-killed me. I was the fella that told you that the military removed a lot of my bowel, like 15 feet, and he told me they soft-killed me. Now I have 6 months of tangy tangerine that I use to keep myself going. But the reason for my call was I read an article a couple weeks back, and it was an op-ed where a fella had reported that all these people with these computer glitches thinking that they're getting into the Obamacare, well, one of the things they give you, or you give, is your Social Security number. And lo and behold, all these people who think they got their Obamacare with the glitch are going to get the penalty slapped on them immediately.
Oh, no. I mean, that's why it's there. No. That's what Mike Adams said 2.5 weeks ago, and it's now confirmed. And that's why Consumer Reports has come out and said, don't be part of it. Exactly. They get a list of people that aren't compliant to fine. No, that's it. So that's what you get. The free health care you get is a fine and then no health care because it won't even work, even if you want to pay for it. I shouldn't laugh. It's so sick. But, I mean, think of the genius of that. It's like in Goodfellas where he's like to the lady, go in there. Yeah, go in that garage. That's where the free furs are. And then she starts looking in there and sees the guy's ready to kill her. And she goes, no, I'm not going in there. And he gets mad at her. By the way, that's a true story. That movie's based on a true story. And one of the only real Italian mafia defectors to ever blow the whistle what was happening deep inside the East Coast mob. But the average Obama person, they could see a child being sawed in half with a hacksaw. And if they told them there was something free in there, they'd say, come on in now, strip your clothes off. We're going to chain you down. You're going to get something free. And then now that you're chained down, they go, yeah, I'm going to take a blowtorch to you and pull your teeth out with pliers. That's the free thing you're going to get. And even as they're having their teeth ripped out, if they tell them, I'm a Nigerian prince, you're now winning the $5 million in the Nigerian email, they will actually thank them for it. I'm telling you, these people would thank Obama if he was slitting their throat. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I got a question for you real quick, and I'll let you get back to the other callers. Why is it that Obama, being a Marxist/socialist or communist, thinks that he can implement socialism or communism better than any of the other countries in the past, when all we've seen is utter and complete collapse of those systems in the past.
Well, because the collapse is the authoritarian takeover by criminals that call slavery communism. And it's always the same. So the low-level minions are just being conned because they want a free ride. But the folks running the communist system, they know what it is. But it's communism for the political system with mega-rich people offshore exempt from it. More calls coming up. Stay with us.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Greg Palast, the fraud investigator, former top federal fraud investigator, best-selling author, investigative journalist for ABC Nightly News, BBC. Well, he still works for them sometimes, but he brings the stuff that's too hot for them to handle because of the control J.P. Morgan Chase and others have to this show. He's going to talk about the $13 billion debt that Chase has now, a record settlement, which is even a big deal for Lloyd Blankfein. So this is a huge, huge issue. Now, we're going to be going over all of that with him. I'm going to go back to your calls here in a moment. And then we've got Mr. McAfee. John McAfee is here. He's here now. Really interesting meeting him in person. He's got some bombshell inside info on Obamacare, with us. He was just interviewed by NBC right before he came here. That'll be on tonight. We've got breaking news with John McAfee, legendary computer programmer, coming up. And we'll get his take on that and so much more here today. But again, we're also going to be breaking down Obamacare and so much more and the latest on the NSA. Before I go any further, because my offices are getting flooded with phone calls, XM Channel 244 took us off reportedly last Friday. I had been told earlier in the year that XM Sirius was basically having a lot of problems, internal shakeups, and more, and that it was not personal, but that most of their libertarian, conservative talk shows would be taken off. It's not just us. It's other networks, other affiliates, other groups, and there's internal battles going on politically within Sirius XM to have no conservative or libertarian shows on the air other than Fox News and Fox channels. And we were replaced with Fox sub-channels. Even though XM executives that contacted us said that they get a lot of subscriptions, were extremely popular. Obviously, it was not just us. It was hundreds of other libertarian and conservative shows were taken off of Sirius XM. So if you are a subscriber like I am, and you want to hear these type of shows, you need to contact them, not us. We are being inundated with hundreds of calls an hour to our few customer service people. We can do nothing. I told you about this a long time ago. They were going to take us off 6 months ago, but because there was an executive discussion and thing that went on, they made the decision to put off those corporate board decisions because of fear of backlash. And so we were kept on. We're gone now. And I've been on there about 3 years. I was surprised we were ever on there that long. We're on over 160 AM and FM stations. That's a lot for a show that's this hardcore. But we're dominating on all the different internet audio feed platforms. We're dominating. From Stitcher to all the other major systems, Boxy, Roku, the old systems like Shoutcast. I mean, we're just in the top 20 to the top 5 on most systems, to number 1 on many. So we're dominating in the free market of ideas. The problem is they're coming out with systems where they can censor libertarian or patriotic talk system-wide across platforms, and that's the real thing that we're facing in the future. So it is important that people record and save on their own hard drives this show, this broadcast, this information, because we could wake up with a big false flag one morning and we're blocked on the satellites, the AM, the FM, even the shortwave. You won't be hearing the show anymore under continuity of government COG. So you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and we are off XM Channel 244. First, they moved us from one channel to a higher channel. They said to try to kill backlash, they moved all their hot talk channels to higher channels to kind of kill the audience and confuse people, and now they've just killed it entirely. So call XM, call Sirius yourself, please, and send them emails or call their corporate offices if you want to hear us back on. In fact, maybe we should dig up their corporate numbers, not our internal corporate numbers, because those are friends inside Sirius XM, vice presidents and people. We need to just give the general main corporate number out, probably, for folks to direct their calls there instead of here. So again, please, I understand you're upset. Please stop calling us here. We can't do anything about it, okay? We are not the ones that did it, okay? I didn't flip a switch and take us off there. I thought it was coming 6 months ago. In fact, we broke that they were going to take almost all conservative libertarian programming off Sirius XM. So that's been done. Let's go to Jeffrey in Alabama. Your take on Obamacare, now that premiums on average have doubled, and we've seen on average a tripling of deductibles. Isn't that what Affordable Care Act means? When I hear Affordable Care Act, I think tripling deductibles, doubling premiums, don't you?
Yes, it's the offshore mafia takeover of the Zionist Rothschild Nazis, as you have told us. I don't want to wind up like Captain Sarpedon or Ventress and be a victim of the savage Marxicians or Bardet from Warhammer. How are you doing, Semper Fi?
I am doing good. I'm trying to follow what you said there, but it sounded interesting. Go ahead, sir.
I just said savage Marxicians. It's a Warhammer sci-fi quote. Sarpedon had it bad. He came back, but he was tapping on the table when he talked to his boss. Semper Free, I love you in the show. I've learned so many things from watching you. And I'm not a racist. I'm in Alabama, but I'm not a racist. I'm a human racist over aliens.
I hear you, and that's racist as well. I believe if aliens arrived in their starships and said, give us your children, we're going to suck their brains out through huge straws. As long as the straws were pink, and as long as the aliens said, let us eat your children's brains or you're racist, the average trendy would present their child to the alien 14-foot insect creatures to suck their brains out. I appreciate your call. And I think we should give our children's brains to the aliens to prove we're not racist. All right, let's go ahead now and take another call. George in New Zealand. Go ahead, sir.
Hello. I had wanted to mention one other halogen that you hadn't covered between fluorine and bromine in the periodic table is chlorine. I'm a physician and went to school in San Antonio, and flipping through looking for an article. There was an article in like 1950 that showed a study done on rabbits and chickens that typical city chlorination of water causes hardening of the arteries, and had them all dissected. So just last year, the government increased the amount of chlorine that the cities are required to put into the system. So you need to filter your water.
That's right. We should filter our water. And I'm going to give you Richard's email in a minute. Richard is kind of handling some of the iodine stuff for me. If you could send all those studies you find, because there are thousands of them, on what this does. And for those that don't know, it's on record that chlorine gives you kidney cancer, liver cancer, and a bunch of other stuff. And I understand the cost-benefit analysis of put it in the water so that you can, purify it so that you don't die of dysentery. But the answer is we need to have the lowest levels of chlorine possible and other systems or mass filtration instead of upping the level of the chlorine as they've done under international standards. Go ahead.
Number two, you can get out of Obamacare if you join one of the Christian healthcare systems. There's a number of them, and they're exempt from Obamacare, and they're very affordable. Number three, I went to school in Columbus to Ohio State, and they had a lot of test marketing there. Most big companies, before they really put something out in the market, will test market it. I think they should have test marketed Obamacare in some place that wants it, like Hawaii or Massachusetts or something, before they started it. Living here in New Zealand, we had to buy insurance. It cost us, we had to make sure we had our own insurance provided for me and my wife. It cost $1,400 a year for their insurance here. So there are ways to get around this. The reason we're in New Zealand is because, there is socialized health care here, but there aren't enough doctors because they don't pay enough. They go to other countries, and so they import United States doctors.
I hear New Zealand is incredibly beautiful. Maybe I should come join you.
You're welcome to come to visit.
No, I hear you. I tell you, man, America is so poisoned and dumbed down that it's scary to be here, but I think I need to stay here and try to save the Republic with the help of our great listeners. But it is really scary. I went into Walmart yesterday just to check it out and see what it was like, and it was like a third world nightmare with just people scabbering around looking like they'd had their souls sucked out of them. Very frightening. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and talk to Mike in Illinois. Mike, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Alex. I guess I'm not going to spell it. I don't know if you can do this, but Obamacare is 1-800-FU.
No. They did actually make that the number on purpose. See, the fun for them, I've studied the criminology of this type of criminal group, is to do that publicly. Exactly, yes.
And you're right. They do want to know your income so they can put you into what they want you to pay.
Well, sir, for those that don't know, Consumer Reports has said today what we said 2.5 weeks ago with Mike Adams, the top programmer, breaking it down here. It is an NSA front to get your Social Security, your income, your info, to then put you in a database for the IRS to garnish your wages or take your refund or grab your bank account for $5,000 fine a year.
And, yes, and they've duped all of us UAW people also. you wouldn't believe most of them are Democrats, in my opinion. I used to be. I was raised Democrat until I began to listen to you and Ron Paul and now Rand Paul. And it's just amazing how people are zombified when it comes to mentioning anything about Obama that's negative.
That's why I keep making the joke that you do whatever they say or you're racist. I mean, you could come up to a trendy and say, strangle your child or you're racist. They would begin strangling them with a tourniquet. I mean, I'm not kidding. If you say we're going to set up Nazi Germany for Obama, they sign it. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Curious about what comes next? Next is the feeling of vulnerability you get after you arrive home to discover your house has been ransacked by burglars. Fool the bad guys with a new improved fake TV. You asked for it, we listened, and we made our new fake TV 3 times brighter than our previous model. The brightness of our new fake TV is equivalent to a 40-inch TV. It simulates the color and motion of a real TV while you're away from home. And when burglars think someone is home watching television, they're likely to pass your house and move on to an easier target. The new, brighter fake TV is only $39.95 and includes free shipping. Go to faketv.com or call 1-877-5-FAKE-TV. That's 877-532-5388 or go to faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Did you know there are 3 million edible food plants on Earth, and none have the nutritional value of the hemp plant? HempUSA.org offers you hemp protein powder. It does not contain chemicals or THC, is non-GMO, and is 100% gluten-free. Hemp protein powder burns fat, builds muscle, contains 53% protein, and feeds the body the nutrients it needs. Call 888-910-4367 and see what our powder, seeds, and oil can do for you. Only at HempUSA.org.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
If If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
John McAfee, the one, the only, is actually walking around in my office right now. He's a really interesting guy. He's even more interesting in person. And he's coming up for the whole next hour. He told us this morning, he said, yeah, I just finished being interviewed by CNBC. The government came to me and asked me to fix Obamacare. I'm not kidding. And he said, well, I'll tell you what he said, but there it is. There is CNBC, just as he said. It just came out minutes ago. GOP asked tech founder, ex-fugitive McAfee, to diagnose Obamacare. And so he's going to be in studio with us. And I'll tell you who's joining us via video Skype right now is top investigative journalist, former top federal fraud investigator, works with BBC News Tonight, ABC News, but he brings us the stories that are too hot for them to publish or to broadcast. He, of course, is best-selling author Greg Palast, gregpalast.com, journalism and film. And he is giving us the inside scoop on what has happened now with Chase and their $13 billion fine and what's really behind that. And what's really behind our story that went viral last week on what looks like capital controls. Financial experts we've talked to agree. Their response saying, it's no big deal that we let you wire money in but not out. And that most accounts can't have more than $50,000 of activity a month if it's cash, like your restaurant. What's really going on at J.P. Morgan Chase, the top of the globalist pyramid, along with other venture capitalists who are anti-free market monopoly men? And so Greg Palast joins us via video, Skype. Couldn't think of a better time for him to come on and give us the inside scoop. And I mean the inside scoop. I'm not bragging about our guests like Mike Adams 2.5 weeks ago saying healthcare.gov is an NSA front. None of it works. It's all fake. The only part that works is getting your Social Security number and info to create a database on you to then send you the fine for not getting healthcare. It's impossible to buy on the system. And now it's in Consumer Reports. Don't go there. That's what it is. 2.5 weeks later. Well, I'm telling you, just like Mike Adams was right about that, by the way, McAfee's saying the same thing, we have the top expert on the scams going on to tell you what's really happening. So we're not just hyping that our guests are the best out there. Mainstream media could have guests like this. They don't want you to really know what's going on. They want you in the dark so they can slit your political throat. Greg Palast, I've built you up, but people need to listen to what you have to say. Give us the inside, sir.
Well, here's the story, Alex. I mean, it might sound like the government has really whacked J.P. Morgan Chase for a lot of money. They've agreed to settle charges of fraud, and they've pled guilty to fraud under California state charges, and they're paying $13 billion. Now, that might sound like a lot of money. To Chase, they had to, it's headed by Jamie Dimon, the man that is known as Obama's favorite banker. Well, Obama's favorite banker has now pled guilty to fraud, is paying $13 billion, and so he's now got to hunt up all that cash between his sofa cushions. J.P. Morgan Chase is now the biggest bank in the United States, and it is it's handling over $1 trillion. Some of that's real money, and some of that is stuff they kind of made up. $13 billion may sound like a big fine that the Justice Department has levied on this company to avoid a trial. It's not. Not when considering the crime that they've actually now pled guilty to. What is the crime? It's fraud upon the international mortgage market. It brought down, this is what brought down the system in 2008, beginning in 2007 to 2008. What J.P. Morgan did was it lent out, and with their co-conspirators, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America's countrywide unit, they lent out tens of billions of dollars in subprime mortgages, where people were hooked in at 3% and 4% and then found that their mortgage payments were tripling at 11%. Now, you know, one of their claims, oh, people ran out of money, they couldn't afford these mortgages. No, most people can't afford a tripling of their mortgage. But what they said was they gave out mortgages that they knew would go kablooey. They deliberately sold these mortgages. They packaged them up. J.P. Morgan lent out the money, or Bank of America countrywide unit lent out the money, but rather than take the risk on the mortgages, they packaged them up into what they call into securities. They securitized them, as they called it. And they sold these securities to pension funds in America, Florida.
And then they and others like Timberwolf made jokes about how they were selling their customers, quote, SH you-know-what.
Yeah, I mean, they were bags of feces. And they sold them to the Swiss Railway pension fund. I know that because my partner's dad was once had a pension from the Swiss Railway. Towns in Finland melted that bought this stuff. And, of course, the California State Pension Fund, teachers' pension and government pensions.
So they're getting a slap on the wrist for stealing trillions.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
With over 3,000 years of historic use, pure silver continues to be one of nature's most reliable and effective agents against fighting viruses, mold, fungus, bacteria, pathogens, and parasites. At Silver Lungs, we have developed a reliable and easy-to-use full production system for creating endless pure nano-silver solutions right from the convenience and comfort of your home. Your self-produced nano-silver solutions can be applied topically to the skin. For many who are new to silver that wish to try silver for the first time, we offer a full line of consumables and cosmetics, such as our 2-ounce nano-silver nasal sprays, our nano-silver soap, and our most popular product, the all-natural nano-silver gel. Visit www.silverlungs.com to learn more about the industry-leading technology of the Silver Lungs system. That's www.silverlungs.com.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it. Others don't.
When an emergency happens, you'll be left to fend for yourself and your family. An outbreak of contagious disease can happen anywhere, and the threat of bioterrorism is always at hand. Because we're faced with more diseases than ever before, we need a better solution than ever before. Fortunately, there's a simple, effective way to protect yourself. Supernatural Silver offers a safe and effective means of fighting pathogens and can help defeat the root of these problems. Supernatural Silver is effective against more than 500 different disease-causing pathogens without encouraging drug resistance and without side effects. Supernatural Silver is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and give you and your loved ones a fighting chance. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code October 2013 for 20% off your entire order and like us on Facebook.
We want your soul. We want your soul. We want your soul.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Show us your habits, your facts, your fears. Give us
Do whatever we say or you're racist.
your digits, your plans, your
We're the Southern Poverty Law Center.
your desktop, your details, your life. Show us your children, your photos, your home.
This sounds like MSNBC broadcast.
Insurance, take a look.
Your kids belong to us. Your data belongs to us. Your guns belong to us. Your property belongs to us. We're buying armored vehicles, militarizing police, surveilling you. We're liberals. No, you're not liberals. You're authoritarians. You can go to you-know-where. Joining us is investigative journalist Greg Palast. So, Greg, from my research, and I know you've done more than I have, J.P. Morgan Chase is at the very top of the pyramid, but there are these big hedge funds that actual power level are just as powerful, and it's all interlocking, and people like John Corzine can make 40-to-1 bets with other people's money and no criminal charges, stealing people's money. I mean, is there anything to hold them back? What is the general climate right now with the Chinese government lecturing us about our debt, with the hedge fund hyenas manipulating things, with the new head of the Federal Reserve saying she's going to accelerate the money printing? What's the inside word on what the next big shoe is to drop?
Well, the big problem is that with the $13 billion settlement, and remember, the damages are about $1 trillion. $1 trillion, okay? And they're settling for $13 billion. The big problem for me is not that they're getting away with murder on the cheap. It's that the game will continue. In other words, there is no move. J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, I mean, Obama, here's a guy who's signing off that pleading guilty to criminal fraud, paying $13 billion in fines. And Obama recently said that he wished that every bank had a Jamie Dimon running it. Can you imagine?
Wow.
What I would like is a guy who's now pled guilty to one of the biggest financial crimes in history, according to his own Justice Department.
That'd be like having a pyromaniac in charge of the fireworks factory.
Yeah, exactly. So So what you got is the arsonist in charge of the fire department, and Obama thinks it's just we just need more guys like that. Now, the biggest problem, besides the bad joke of it, the sick joke of that, is that they are not doing anything to implement. Like you said, there are these hedge funds in the shadows, but not only in the shadows, but under the aegis of J.P. Morgan Chase. And in other words, the deregulation, the decriminalizing of mixing your bank account with casino operations of investment banks is not being changed. It was the destruction of the Glass-Steagall Act back in the Clinton administration under the guidance of Larry Summers and, of course, Citibank chieftain Robert Rubin, who went from the Treasury, went from Goldman Sachs to the Treasury back to Citibank. J.P. Morgan did not commit this crime alone. And I'm saying crime because now it's official. They pled guilty to criminal charges. They did not commit this crime alone. Like you say, they're big hedge funds, and they are not saying, okay, the hedge fund gamblers have to stay away from the public's money, that your savings account, which is guaranteed by public funds. They're still letting these guys gamble with that money.
So basically, it's like they just had the public for dinner, and now the concierge or the maitre d' is just tagging on a small 2 or 3% tip on the bill.
Yeah.
As they pick their teeth leaving.
Right. They're saying, listen, if you pay, if you give the waiter a tip, we'll kind of like waive the bill. We'll give it to those guys at the other table, the working guys over there at the lunch counter. They'll pick up your tab.
Well, the analogy is the guys at the other lunch counter, you just ate their children in front of them, and now they get to pick up the bill.
We're laughing, but the truth is that we did have a financial collapse because this crime was not minor. When those securities were opened up, and they turned out to be bags of, as you say, bags of feces, the entire market for housing collapsed in the United States. People lost trillions of dollars in value on their homes. They couldn't buy new homes. They couldn't sell their homes. We had 2 million foreclosures. This is not just a financial scam that, that's a lot of money, those big guys, and they still got bonuses, and let's complain about it. I'm talking about something more serious. We had 2 million people who lost their homes in this scam.
And countless infected pension funds, public and private, cities going under.
We're talking, when we talk about Detroit going under, look, don't forget, this was a big, big part of it. You had like a fourth of the homes in Detroit were worthless. So the city had no, tax base to pay anything. So they went bankrupt. You have the knock-on effects of the J.P. Morgan crime in combination with their hedge funds. And for example, I brought up one case where Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan was in part of this game, where Goldman Sachs was actually betting against the mortgage market while they're selling this junk. On one hand, secretly they know that the market's going to collapse. they made $4 billion for themselves and their clients betting on the collapse of the market that they crushed.
And then we're arrogant enough. I mean, we're not just saying bags of feces here for fun. This is not Howard Stern show, folks. We don't do that. Not knocking Howard for it, but the point is this is not a joke show. No. That's what they called it, making fun of their clients, saying we sold them packages of bleep. I mean, it'd be one thing if they robbed their clients. That's bad enough. But the celebrating of it, what do you call that? It's unbelievable.
Well, it's crime. It's called fraud. And see, that's the thing, is that the excuse before was, oh, my God, we didn't know that the housing market would collapse. It's not our fault. Oh, my God, we're victims too. Come on. Now we know, not only from the internal tapes and the memos, that they knew that they were selling bags of crap, that on the other hand, that they actually made money on this because they were betting on the collapse while they're selling the suckers these mortgages. And by the way, some of these mortgages, which they conned the rating agencies into giving them, well, not only conned them, but they paid them off. It was simple. They paid these rating agencies like Standard & Poor's to rate these things AA and AAA, and they literally were worth 1 cent on the dollar. They lost 99% of their value. They were complete junk, and they had AA ratings because they paid these investment rating agencies a fortune to put the good housekeeping seal of
approval. So we know about a lot of this. The big question is, and the reason I wanted to get you on is back in 2002, you released the leaked documents right around the time that Joseph Stiglitz left the World Bank as chief economist. He says he didn't do it. You say he didn't do it. The point is, they got released around that time. There was, I guess, a D notice. The BBC couldn't release them all, but you still released quite a few of them. You came on my show. It became a big worldwide story.
That's right.
Remind people about that.
Well, what happened is that we know from internal documents of the World Bank, WTO, and now the Treasury Department. A few weeks ago, I released something called the Endgame memo by Lawrence Summer, or received by Lawrence Summer, Larry Summers from Tim Geithner. Both had been secretaries of the Treasury working under Robert Rubin and Clinton and Obama. And this crowd basically said, look, we're going to rip apart. We're having secret meetings with J.P. Morgan Chase. We're having secret meetings with Goldman. We're having secret meetings with Citibank. And by the way, such secret meetings are completely illegal. In fact, the reason why I think Obama decided to let J.P. Morgan off the hook with a $13 billion slap on the wrist. Again, $13 billion is a slap on the wrist when the damage is $1 trillion by the government's own calculation. So why they let them go? Because can you imagine J.P. Morgan say, well, we had secret approval from your own Secretary of the Treasury. We'd like to call Lawrence Summers to our defense. We'd like to call Obama Secretary of the Treasury, Timmy Geithner. And since they approved it all, how could you say we could?
Of course, the White House, the last White House, and especially the Clinton White House, as you exposed, are co-conspirators in it. So here's why I brought up the stuff from 2002. Yeah. Because those documents broke down. They were now going to take over the West, just as they had done third world countries, and now they hold Greece, the U.S., you name it, hostage with these debt limits.
Yep.
When months ago, they just froze the debt limit, even though the debt was going up. But when they wanted to, they then threatened our credit and everything, holding us hostage. Well, that's in the documents you released, their plan to do that. So I'm asking you, what's the current climate? What are these criminals up to now?
Well, I think that the thing is now they're celebrating because, that Jamie Dimon has basically gotten off the hook. It's not, despite the fraud charges, he's not going to be, read his rights and shipped off to Leavenworth. It's a joke. And he already had a little gathering of his people at the top of a museum. He had a big champagne luncheon, basically proclaiming victory. So they literally are breaking out the champagne bottles. And like you say, the big problem is that the game continues. It's not even what they did and that they got away with it, though that's serious business. As a fraud investigator, I used to do racketeering cases for the government. We used to think that, well, gee, you do a racketeering case, they plead guilty, they should go to the can. That ain't happening. They might take a few small fry and throw them into the volcano, but that's about it, as we saw with Goldman Sachs when they ripped off on the same scam. It was the same scam, by the way, and they made $4 billion, and then they threw some assistant vice president who didn't even know what the hell was going on. They threw him. They removed his license to sell stock. That was the biggest criminal punishment of these companies, which made billions and took us down $4 trillion. So I'm just concerned that the same game is going on. There is no attempt there is no attempt to say, look, we have to go back to the rule of law here. You cannot take money which is guaranteed, savings money which is guaranteed by the people of America through the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. You cannot take our money and go to Vegas with us, fix the tables, so you win, we lose. I'm stunned that there's been absolutely no real change in the law.
Well, sure. I mean, it's like high-frequency trading. I've seen the actuaries, the numbers, the graphs where they've increased derivatives investments since 2008. They kind of slowed down for 2 years. Now they've ramped it back up. There's another huge bubble with QE Unlimited. What's the word with QE Unlimited? What's the inside scoop on the real state of the economy?
Well, they have to keep pumping in money. I mean, understand when you talk about derivatives, and we just had, again, today, we're talking about the deal cut between the Justice Department and J.P. Morgan Chase, that they only pay $13 billion on a $1 trillion crime. They've admitted to criminal fraud. J.P. Morgan Chase, just so you know, I was stunned myself. You go to my website, you'll find a page of their old SEC filings. They had $88 trillion of derivatives on their books as assets. $88 trillion in derivatives as assets. Now, I'm sorry, there isn't $88 trillion of anything on this planet. I guess, what do? Have a bank account on another planet we don't know about? I mean, where's the 88? It's literally on their records. I had to count the zeros so many times. I kept looking at my assistant, Ms. Badpetty, and I kept saying, I said, now you understand, I have an MBA from the University of Chicago, and I'm looking at these numbers and say, it can't be. But it is $88 trillion in basically baloney securities.
And it gets better. They expect us to back them up and pay for them.
And when they turn out to be, of course, what they are, which is, crap.
Bags of poop.
We pay for it. And that's why you have to keep pumping money into the system, because if not, the game, the musical chairs.
But all the economists I talk to, tell me if you concur, because you're a smart financial guy out there, they say that mathematically down the road, it may be 6 months, maybe 2 years, that the chairs will stop. And sure, if they would have slowed down QE3, the whole economy would have imploded in one swoop. But instead, as Ron Paul wrote a paper a few days ago, it's going to go more long-term but be worse in the end. What do you say about that?
Well, look, it's so scary now that, they're just throwing money out the window and keeping the banks pumped up. And they almost, like you say, we'd have a collapse if they didn't. We've created a spinning merry-go-round of a financial system, and we can't just hit the brakes because everyone falls off the horses, right? And so I don't know. I actually don't know where it will end up. I would hope that it depends what we do. If we start beginning to police these operations, beginning to wind down this massive amount of basically baloney air-filled securities that are flying around the planet, on which we have pensions based all over the world, in which economies and banks have this stuff.
And of course, as you pointed out in one of your books a few years ago, I forget which one, but I read it, they corrupted pension funds and stuff on purpose so they could hold everyone hostage.
Yeah, I mean, what they did was, and that was in Vulture's Picnic, and I also had one in Billionaires and Ballot Bandits, and, one of the problems is that if you suddenly say, hey, all Greek debt is now baloney, you have every bank in the planet now can't use that as reserve currency, and technically you can have every major bank on the planet outside of Brazil and China, which wouldn't join in. Outside of Brazil and China, you'd have every bank in the planet technically bankrupt. So they can't just say, okay, game's over, the carousel stops. We have to wind down because we've gotten ourselves into this business. But the problem is with the J.P. Morgan settlement today, I'm just worried that that's simply okay, you pay a few bucks into the tin cup and the game continues. There is absolutely no indication that J.P. Morgan is going to stop selling securitized mortgages and take responsibility for the mortgages that they issue. It's real simple. You can't allow this stuff. How about we say it's been nothing but fraudulent and damaging and almost blew up the planet. Why don't we say it's illegal? We used to. We went several generations, several millennia without securitized mortgage derivatives. Why don't we say that was a real bad idea, guys? Let's cut it out. It was criminal before. let's say it's criminal again, and then we don't have to, you know, but to say, okay, you pay $13 billion, you can pick up where you left off, go back to Vegas. No, I don't think so.
Sure, but to put it in layman's terms, we're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars, conservatively, of counterfeit garbage that they've now bought stuff with. And then we're saying, hey, stop that. And they go, we've infected everything. So instead of them getting in trouble, it's worse. They get bailed out and get more power because, well, they're the guys that did it, so let them manage it. And then they're using it to take advantage of us while J.P. Morgan and all these groups finance the police state. They're the ones, every time I turn around, that are lobbying to get rid of our freedoms. Well, of course, because if we have our system where we run the government, they could end up at Nuremberg. So they also have an appetite to set up an authoritarian endgame so they feel safe. I mean, they've got to be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't ignore the idea of the NSA spying with the need to make sure that no one is protesting against the J.P. Morgan's takedown of our treasury. Don't forget, we came very close to having Larry Summers, the guy that basically body blocked any regulation of J.P. Morgan's derivatives activity. And by the way, he was on their payroll. Obama wanted to make him head of the Federal Reserve.
And again, that shows the arrogance of these people. That was like trying to have Kissinger as the head whitewasher on the 9/11 Commission.
Well, you know, one thing I should say that's positive. You know, I issued these memos that Summers had been having secret meetings illegally with the banks. Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio had that in his hand. He was loading up for any confirmation hearing if Obama went ahead with Summers. We beat the Summers nomination for head of the Federal Reserve.
Tell you what, stay there. Come back and do 5 more minutes, 6-minute segment, and then John McAfee's coming in. I want to hear your good news. GregPalast.com. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com. You can follow us on Twitter at RealAlexJones. But, yeah, I mean, at least they're not getting everything they want. And the issue here is, folks, sometimes just slowing them down is winning. Because if they have their way, these people are not even in control of themselves. I mean, they are a bunch of really arrogant, out-of-control people.
To thank you for being a loyal listener, we have a limited-time freebie offer for you. Claim your free heirloom tomato seeds, just pay shipping, right now at 123freeseeds.com. These aren't ordinary seeds. These are heirloom, non-genetically modified super seeds that are open-pollinated and can be grown, harvested, and replanted endlessly. These survival seeds are actually more valuable than gold in a crisis. Go to 123freeseeds.com and you can get an airtight storage packet of 150 super seeds free while supplies last to say thank you for being a loyal listener. First come, first served. Just cover shipping. Go to 123freeseeds.com now to see if your free heirloom seeds are still available. That's 123freeseeds.com.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Isn't Wi-Fi great? You can browse the web anywhere. Coffee shops, airports, libraries, but using public Wi-Fi means that people can spy on you, and it's easy as, yep, they can access your data at the touch of a button. Seriously, even your internet service provider can see every website you ever go to. Private internet access has got your back. How? Well, it's kinda nerdy, but to put it simply, spies and companies that track you don't like us one bit. We create an encrypted tunnel so that nobody can spy on you. We also provide IP cloaking, which frees you from geographic restrictions when you're traveling. Register today and disappear online the way it was supposed to be. Go to privateinternetaccess.com right now, because your family's privacy is worth it. That's privateinternetaccess.com.
Big John. Big John. Every morning at the mine, you could see him arrive. He stood 6'6" and weighed 245, kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip. And everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John. Big John, Big John, Big Bad John, Big John. Nobody seemed to know where John called home. He just drifted into town and stayed all alone. Didn't say much, kind of quiet and shy, but if he spoke at all, he just said hi to Big John.
Just setting up some stuff we're going to be doing this afternoon that should be fun for the TV viewers. I'll leave it at that. Send a Louisiana man to the promised land, Big John. All right, folks, we are back live. A final segment with Greg Palast, and then drum roll, John McAfee. What an amazing individual. All the stuff he's done and the wild stories he told from down in the Caribbean. It all turned out to come out to be true. Just amazing. He's going to be in here with us talking about some big breaking news. Guys, I showed you that earlier. Will you print me that CNBC article about the government trying to hire him to try to fix healthcare? Healthcare.gov. I want to show that when he comes in. He's got some amazing points he wants to go over about other agencies spying on people, you name it, in the next hour. Greg Palast, the good news, sir, recapping, you got cut off by the break. What is the good news? Because we love to hear good news.
Well, the good news is that, you know, they can't steal all the money all the time. And they can't ignore the public all the time because it threatens the system. Now, Larry Summers, who was the guy who was U.S. Secretary of Treasury under Clinton, and then became the economic czar, which, you know, as long as I like the name economic czar, proves that we're officially an autocracy, right? The economic czar, he worked for the big banks, and he was the guy in government and then out who body blocked every attempt to regulate, control, or even eliminate this new derivatives market junk. He was paid. He was on the payroll of Citibank and J.P. Morgan Chase. And Obama was really insisting on appointing him to head the Federal Reserve Board, which would basically be, you know, it's putting the mob in charge of the banks. You know, I mean, it's that simple. Except that the mob would never dream of stealing this much money at once. And so Summers was going to be head of the Federal Reserve Board. I released documents, a lot of other journalists, I released documents that he was having secret meetings which were illegal with the banks while he was Secretary of the Treasury. And we had a lot of senators like Senator Sherrod Brown who used that information, told Obama that if this guy goes in the confirmation hearing, they're going to use my material and others' material to expose this guy. And so we ended up with Janet Yellen instead. Now, you may think that Yellen is just another one of them, but believe me, Summers, even the signal given to the banks that their boy would be in charge is by itself terrible. When you tell the mob that you're going to pick their consigliere as police chief, that's a serious bad signal that says there's no regulation, no one has control. So public pressure, got Summers junked as head of the Federal Reserve Board. And you do have people, whether you like Elizabeth Warren's politics or not, a lot of the reaction, one of the reasons she was elected, because she said, the banks are getting away with murder. And, so there has been a reaction. There was, the activity of Occupy Wall Street panicked them into, and the Patriot movement panicked them into the NSA spying scam. So in other words, when you might complain about the NSA, but just think about this. You got them. You're driving them crazy, Alex. So they have to do this type of spying because they're worried that there's movements that are challenging this banking regime.
So the good news is you're seeing folks wake up not just here but around the world.
Yeah, and of course, needless to say, you got in Brazil they said the hell with this business, and they threw out they said you can't sell derivatives to Brazil.
So there's definite sanity starting to creep back in. Greg Palast, GregPalast.com. Thank you so much for the time.
You got it, Alex. Thanks.
Thank you. John McAfee coming up.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, we're into the third hour here today. It's 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'm Alex Jones, your host, and John McAfee, of course, the most famous antivirus maker out there in the company. He's still one of the top companies out there that bears his name. He's an inventor, a journalist, a really interesting fellow. And, of course, the website is whoismcafee.com. And he joins us here. We're going to come back in the next segment and really get into all the things he wants to cover. But he was here about an hour before it came out, and he said, yeah, I just talked to NBC, and they're going to be, talking about how the feds tried to hire him to come try to fix health care. So I guess they are all hands on deck trying to hire all the tech gurus to fix stuff. We're going to talk about that coming up in the next segment. But, John, it is great to meet you in person, buddy.
Well, it's great to meet you, Alex. I've talked to you on the phone so many times, I felt like I knew you anyway.
Well, it's good to have you here. What do you think of Austin so far?
I like Austin. Very nice town. It's small enough to be enjoyable and not too crowded, and yet large enough to have coffee shops.
Well, it used to be a lot smaller, like 100,000 people. Now it's over 1 million, but it is spread out. But
right. I hear you have a water problem.
We do. We're running out of water. Well, until it flooded last week. I mean, every decade or so there's a drought, but next we're going to have the dams about to break. So.
All right. Well, that's preferable, I think.
I think the prettiest places in Austin would be down on, say, the Colorado River. Have you seen that yet?
I have. Beautiful. Beautiful. In fact, I think that's the river I'm staying on. At the Four Seasons, I've got a beautiful view of some river. There were punters out this morning. So,
what do you want to get into? I mean, obviously, we'll talk about Obamacare. That's the big breaking news. We'll get an update on Brazil, NSA. You say there's more than just the NSA spying on us.
Well, obviously. I mean, if the NSA is spying on us and they're just one covert branch of the government, then everybody has to be. It'd be ridiculous to have the NSA spying on the U.S. population, but the CIA and the FBI and other covert arms not doing it, or the military. So you know for a fact that we're being spied on by everyone. You know, Edward Snowden just blew the whistle on one aspect, and so we're focused on that. And the other branches are probably going, oh, please don't let them focus on us.
Well, that's right. I mean, there's 15 big intelligence agencies, but it gets worse than that because it came out the DEA is hooked into the NSA, tracking everybody. I mean, so they're listening to you talk about a pot plant you've got growing in your backyard.
Well, I don't smoke pot, but...
No, but I meant the public out there, sure.
Of course, right. So all the agencies cooperate to a certain extent. I mean, they're jealous of each other and they keep guarded secrets, but you can be guaranteed that something of interest to one agency may be of interest to another. And so there's nothing that we do that isn't known now. I mean, that has to be the case.
I also want to talk about your product when it comes out because, I mean, you're already one of the most famous computer-type inventors out there. I tell you, this will be revolutionary if it's not just an off-site proxy you go through, because we know they tap the backbone before it even gets there. They've bragged about that. If it's a device in front of your computer, I don't know why I didn't think of that. I guess I'm not John McAfee.
Well, you know, it's a very simple concept. People think that it's going to be difficult to implement, but it's not. It's a very simple idea. It's just you step outside the box and say, okay, everyone's trying to fix the internet. It's too big. It's been here too long. There are too many pieces. I said, well, it can't be fixed. Why don't we just create another internet, sort of a sub-part of the real internet, and as it grows, perhaps that will be the new internet. But it's very simple. The concept rests on the principle that if they do not know, if no one knows, even yourself, the ID of the person you're sending it to or receiving information from, then how can anybody watch that information? And if the information itself is encrypted, then even if it is intercepted, it means nothing. And my encryption technique has not been vetted by the NSA, or they were not involved in the development of it. So like every other technique is, so they can't look at it, nor can any other agency.
Wow, John McAfee's our guest in studio. I'm your host, Alex Jones. And when we come back, we're going to dive into an in-depth interview. I'm going to ask him about human potential, where he thinks things are going, transhumanism, Ray Kurzweil. I've got a bunch of my questions. We're going to cover his points first. As I asked him before we went live, what do you want to cover? I've got a list of 4 things. It's all coming up live, uncensored, straight ahead. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Well, John McAfee is our guest. He's come to Austin to visit with us. And this morning he did an interview with CNBC, and it's GOP asked for tech founder, ex-fugitive McAfee to diagnose Obamacare. And that fits in with the Politico article, Tech Surge to Repair Obamacare Websites. They're saying it's like the Manhattan Project as they panic to try to fix it. Now, of course, John McAfee is an extremely famous computer programmer, engineer, worked for all sorts of big corporations, NASA, you name it. He developed McAfee, which is still the dominant antivirus system out there. He's also been better known lately for escaping out of the kleptocratic area of Belize and exposing connections to the communist Chinese, Muslim terrorists, you name it, riots plots. And when he broke this on our show, I said, man, that is hard to believe. But I still had him on and said it may be true. But then it all later came out in the news, months and months later. So he is definitely a blessed, charmed man to have been able to make it out of there into Guatemala and then back to the good old U.S. of A. And we're going to talk about his view on the world and so many issues, the NSA, you name it. But first, sir, let's get into Obamacare. Wow, so you've been contacted by the government to try to come in and fix it. What did you tell them, and why did you refuse?
Well, I was contacted by the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. They're the ones that oversee the Obamacare package. And if I would come out and basically oversee some of the changes and give them input on what needed to be done. I said, sure. Then they added, but we can't pay your expenses or anything. The government is shut down. And I'm thinking, well, you pay $600 million to a completely inoperable agency to build this system. And I said, okay, well, I'll pay my own way. And they said, okay. And then they came back and said, well, we can't even get the committee members all together because, again, the chaos of the shutdown. Can we do it on the phone? And at that point, I go, okay, I'm out of here. They expect me to give them advice on a system that requires showing them charts and graphs and how this thing is put together and what's wrong with it, and they want to do it over the phone. They're not serious. They just want to say, we contacted McAfee, he gave us some advice, and we're going to implement it, which is utter nonsense. They're not. My advice would be, throw it away and start over. You cannot fix the system that's there. It is impossible. The way it is architected, any good programmer will tell you, it's just not going to work. And they can pour money into it, another $50 million, another $100 million. It will never work the way that it is. It needs to be redone.
A friend of mine, Mike Adams, who's a successful computer programmer, he said the same thing 2.5 weeks ago. He said several things. He said, it looks like basically chimpanzees were in there tied up to keyboards writing this. It's gibberish. It's not even bad code. Yes. That came out today.
Yes.
And he said that the government always throws more money at something that doesn't work when you need to scrap it. But he said that's what all the top programmers are saying. That is what you, John McAfee, as a well-known top programmer, are saying. But clearly the Commerce Committee knows that too. So what do you think the real reason is? Mike and others are saying, now it's actually coming out that it's really an NSA front, and they're just getting data for who doesn't have insurance to find them, and it's totally cold-blooded. Might be, because it doesn't seem like they were serious in actually implementing a Medicare system. And you're right, the code. After the rollout, there were programmers that went on bulletin boards asking for help on programs that they had been working on for this system, all of them Indian. CGI has over 10,000 programmers in the country of India, and they're doing very basic programming in a language that only runs on the front end, that is your computer. So when you log on to Obamacare, the programs are downloaded to your computer and run, and then ship the data back. It's a very cheap and easy way of doing it. And that's fine if you have 10 or 20 users, but if you have millions, it just isn't going to work. And that's why the architecture can't support it. But to have a company whose employees are asking for help from the general public on fixing their problems is absurd. If you go through the code, there are fundamental misspellings in there. This shouldn't be happening. This should be a professional company. And that company, CGI, that worked for the government of Canada about 7 years ago, was fired because of incompetence and not delivering what they had wanted. So why did we choose a Canadian company when there are plenty of American companies that are very technically competent in this area? I have no idea. Well, that's another issue. Consumer Reports is now saying don't go to the website because you can basically have your identity stolen on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not just the website. You don't even know that if it's a legitimate website, because there are so many examiners that can have their own websites. And sorry, that's my telephone here.
Hey, it kind of sounds cool. It's like Star Trek.
Let me turn the sucker off. So there are so many examiner sites that anybody can put together, and the sites can be made by hackers. They can steal your identity. They can ask for your social security number, and the following day your bank account's going to be empty. And this is going to cost consumers, in terms of lost income and identity theft, more than the entire Obamacare package cost to implement.
Unbelievable. And Obama came out today. I forget the exact quote. Let me look at drudgereport.com and find it. He came out and called it a good deal and that it's exceeding expectations.
Well, I mean, I don't know whose expectations those would be.
Does that win the BS award of all time?
Well, I think so, or unless your expectations are dramatically lower than any sane person would want to have. So really, that makes no sense. What would the expectations be if, in fact, when it rolled out, you couldn't log on, you couldn't get support, there was no security, and it was crashing every 3 minutes? So what expectations could you possibly have that it met? I have no clue. That is definitely bullshit.
And again, John McAfee's our guest in studio. Going back here then to understand this, the Republican committee chair calls you up and says, help us fix it. And then they want you to just tell them over the phone how to fix something that's like many times more complex than landing probably the Mars rover on the moon, something this complex with all these different hundreds of millions of people that are supposed to use it, with all these interfaces and all these exchanges. And nobody's ever made something like this work before, from what I've been told.
Right.
And then they want you over the phone to tell them how to do it.
Right.
What did you say to them?
Well, first of all, it wasn't the committee chairman. It was the lawyer for the committee, a guy named Sean Hayes, who contacted me. And he was very flattering. He said, I'm sure this won't be a heavy lift for you with a man of your expertise and all of this. And I said, well, okay. And then he said, but I can't pay you expenses. And I go, well, okay. I mean, I'm a good American. You need help, I'll help. Then when it got down to, we can't get the committee members all together, can you do this over the phone? I realized they're not even serious. I never even responded. This was an email, this last one.
They wanted you as a PR name.
As a PR name. Say, we contacted John McAfee, and he's given us great advice, and don't worry, everything's going to be fine. But it's not. And so I don't want to be involved in it.
Did you give him the advice you gave our listeners, scrap it?
Well, they know that. I've been saying that in the press for a week now. So, yeah, they have to scrap it, and they're not going to listen to that. Or at least scrap the front end. I mean, without...
Well, how do you have a website based on a law? It's got to follow this cockamamie law.
Well, that's the other problem here. Technology within the government. There are 6,000 pages of regulations for how you develop technological programs. We're in and it takes years to write those regulations. Technology is an area where every year you throw your cell phone away because it's out of date and you get a new one with new features. Technology is advancing rapidly. The regulations are years old. How on earth can you develop a high-tech program using regulations that take 3 years to write? That's the fundamental problem. It has to be simplified. Throw the regulations out. Trust the people that you're contracting with. Get American customers, get American companies to produce the thing, and let's get real here.
Well, there are laws that most of our tech that's government funded should come from the U.S., but they religiously ignore it because of globalism. They want to deindustrialize this country so they can pick the winners and losers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But given that, then you can't complain when your systems don't work. You can't complain when... and I'm not putting down Indians, by the way, or India. They are very intelligent people and great programmers. But CGI takes them and puts them through a 3-month training class, 3 months, and expects them to now produce miracle code. It doesn't work.
And then connect it with all the other code.
And connect it with all the other code. It's like, sure, that's a very cheap way of doing it, and you're going to get a lot of code. But then how on earth do you fix it? This is the problem.
But I've talked to programmers that say, and now it's in the news, that it's just gibberish, a lot of it. Like people just gave up and delivered crap.
They did, because they were under the gun for time. It has to be done. It has to be done. I know how that works. You're a programmer, and you don't even understand what the problem is, and you're trying to fix it. And your boss says, get it done by Friday. Well, you get it done by Friday, and you turn it in, and you hope no one ever runs that program to find out that it doesn't work.
That's like homework you do on the school bus.
That's it. On the way. You're just scribbling as fast as you can. Go. I hope the teacher doesn't read this. But unfortunately, we do run these programs, and they are going to get found out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like Common Core where they teach the kids 2 + 2 = 4. A computer's got to have it right or it won't work.
Absolutely.
I guess the
and
banksters...
100% right.
Exactly. I guess the banksters and the globalists have finally tried to feed their con artist bull into a computer.
That's it.
And it's not working.
it's certainly not working the way this was implemented.
Oh, man. So what do you think's going to happen? He's now trying to blame Republicans and people that don't like socialist health care for the website failing. He did that in a speech today.
Well, you know, you can blame the manager of the technological program and nothing else. CGI is responsible, period, for delivering a working program. They did not, because really it was unrealistic given the way that they did it. And they did it in order to make money. I understand that. You've got a certain income. You have $100 million that the government's paying you. If you can get it done for $500,000, you have a 99.5% profit margin.
But now CGI is going to get more money to fix it.
Which they can't. And they're going to use those same programs because you can't use new ones to fix an existing program. Whereas if they threw it out, grab some really decent programs. I mean, very top-notch programmers, because
Well, don't tell them how to fix it. We want it to fail.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're not going to listen to me, okay?
John McAfee, we're going to break. Incredible to have this guy in studio with us. We're going to come back and let him continue on that point. Then the NSA, his device he's coming up with very soon that I hope to sell here, and a lot more. Stay with us. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. WhoisMcAfee.com is his site. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only two ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
It's been said, those who control the food control the people. Are you concerned about GMO foods making you sick and affecting your mind? Many people suffer from lack of energy, insomnia, loss of stamina, weight gain, and the inability to think clearly. Genetically modified crops, processed foods, and toxic chemicals can compromise your health and are silently destroying your digestive system, which accounts for 80% of your immune system. Take back control of your health with Pro EM1 Probiotic from Terraganics. Pro EM1 Probiotic helps protect your body against irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, diabetes, the common cold, and much more. And including a powerful probiotic like Pro EM1 as part of your daily routine, puts you back in control and prevents you from becoming a mindless zombie manipulated by the pharmaceutical and GMO agendas. Call Terraganics at 866-369-3678 or visit Terraganics.com. TerraGanix.com.
Are you someone who forges your own trail? Are you a pioneer with the need to homestead your self-reliant entrepreneur spirit? If so, RF Bunker has a franchise opportunity for you. RF Bunker is the fastest growing emergency and survival retail store in the United States. RF Bunker franchise opportunities are leading the way for business-minded heroes seeking adventure in owning and operating their own emergency supply and survival store. Visit rfbunker.com or call 866-623-2932. This offer is not being directed to any resident of the register required states.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
An e-cig revolution is sweeping across the country. But is yours American-made? Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig is. Manufactured in Arkansas with 100% USA-sourced ingredients. And when you buy American, you support local jobs. Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig is top quality at an affordable price. The very principle that once drove the American economy. Get great taste with no ash, tar, or smoke. You'll be wondering why you didn't make the change to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig a long time ago. LeSig.com has everything you need, for beginners to the advanced vaping enthusiast, with a wide variety of hardware, and also imported e-liquid flavors as well. Plus, LeSig smokes the competition with fast, free, same-day shipping, real people customer service, and a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Support our country and become a Vapriot at LeSig.com. Or call 870-525-1440, 870-525-1440. LeSig e-cigarettes, for today's modern smoker.
John McAfee is really amazing in person. And you saw all the media hype and the demonization of him when he was down in Belize. But we need to do a part 2, maybe for the nightly news with you, where we go back and show how all the stuff you talked about with us earlier this year, or I guess last year, all of it later turned out to come out. It was like a James Bond movie or something. So we'll have an update in the next segment with Mr. McAfee with us. Again, I'm Alex Jones, if you just tuned in. But continuing with healthcare.gov, I mean, I understand as a top programmer, you know, reportedly genius level by the media and all the stuff you've invented over the years, that you look at this and you say it could be fixed. My issue is, I've talked to other programmers that are very smart as well. They say there's no way government didn't know this was a piece of crap and wasn't going to work. What do you think's really going on here?
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, any sane person is going to test what they have developed at least one time, and usually you test it for many, many months. And if the government has any interest in this program, then they had to have people monitoring the development. So, of course, they knew it wasn't going to work, or they didn't bother to test it at all. This is the bizarre truth of the issue. So I don't know what's going on. I do know that what happened is unthinkable if it were being managed by a true technological manager. They would not let this happen. You build the program, you design it, you go through an alpha test period for a few months, which is, you know, you have a few people logging in, then a beta test where you simulate massive amounts of input, and then you fix the problems and you roll it out. Clearly, they didn't go through any of that. This is not the normal way of developing software. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen it before.
I keep going back over this because it's just the whole thing is so not Orwellian, more Twilight Zone, because Obama's up there saying it's a great deal and exceeding expectations and just bizarreness. It'd be like if my wife came home and I was in bed with 7 women and I got up and said, honey, I've never cheated on you, baby. I mean, it's just the level of BS.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, by the way, that is the standard approach. I mean, if your wife does catch you in bed with a woman, you deny it. I mean, it's a fact. Never, ever admit.
So I guess it is, like Bill Clinton said, deny. Right. So I guess it is literally, what's the term they use for that in the Pentagon? Gaslighting.
That's it. So, you know, I really don't have a clue. I am not politically connected. I can tell you everything you need to know about computers, software, networking, security, but I don't have a clue.
What do you think about
something's wrong and it's not going the way it should?
What do you think about the whole NSA thing being exposed? We know that's been going on for a long time, but why now is it getting exposed, and where do you think it's going?
Well, it's getting exposed because someone, Edward Snowden, said something and showed us. Now, he's hiding out in Russia now, unfortunately, Russia. However, why are we worrying about the NSA? It's every single covert agency of the government, and there are 15 or 20 of those agencies. And you know for a fact that if one agency is spying on us, that they're all spying on us. This is a fact. And they all share information. So the CIA, the FBI, Army intelligence, they are all watching us. I know this. I've known this for years. If I say something, people go, oh, you're paranoid, you're crazy. And it takes someone like Snowden to pop up and show us, and we go, oh, my God, the NSA is spying on us. Well, duh. Of course they are. They have been for years.
Well, talking about CGI, they do the Pentagon's most complex systems, so they obviously knew this wasn't going to work. So therefore, it was done by design to put off Obamacare and only bring in the fine part. I think clearly it's just there to find people.
It's entirely possible. You know, I don't know for a fact, but something is going on that is not sensible, not to the mind of someone who's been developing systems like this their whole life. So you could be absolutely right.
Let's shift gears into your device. I can't wait till this comes out. And we were talking during the break about the government won't be your biggest problem. Who will be your biggest problem with your device that blocks the NSA?
I think the music industry and the TV industry, they are so paranoid about intellectual property. That is, please don't let anybody make one copy of my music or my video. And yet statistically, I mean, if you look at the figures, the music industry and the television industry and the movie industry has never made more money than they are today, with all of the piracy that's going on. And also statistics say that people who pirate videos are the most purchasers. They pay them more money for the ones that they do want. So they have no reason to be doing what they're doing. But I guarantee you there's already been comments made that this is a dangerous product and a dangerous idea that they're going to try and block it.
I want to talk about this when we come back in the long segment because it tortures me. I have an old TV, not that old, like 5-6 years, that has a DVD player on the side that I've run in the garage on the treadmill. It broke that DVD player. So I went and got another one, plugged it in, and it gave me a message and said, you're not allowed to run another device in this anti-piracy. And these are bought DVDs.
Right, I understand.
And then I have all this other equipment in here for TV where we're trying to put on a show, and I'll buy the equipment. It's my show. It won't let it run over a television.
Right, and I can buy a DVD from Australia and pay for it legitimately, and it will not run on my American DVD player because it's a different region.
So it's stopping technological development so that they can kleptocratically make more money, and instead they're screwing up all the devices like Dr. Stallman talks about. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
When an emergency happens, you'll be left to fend for yourself and your family. An outbreak of contagious disease can happen anywhere, and the threat of bioterrorism is always at hand. Because we're faced with more diseases than ever before, we need a better solution than ever before. Fortunately, there's a simple, effective way to protect yourself. Supernatural Silver offers a safe and effective means of fighting pathogens and can help defeat the root of these problems. Supernatural Silver is effective against more than 500 different disease-causing pathogens without encouraging drug resistance and without side effects. Supernatural Silver is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and give you and your loved ones a fighting chance. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code October 2013 for 20% off your entire order and like us on Facebook.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it. Others don't.
GCN Radio Network.
John the Revelator, put him in an elevator, take him up to the high side, take him up to the top where the mountains stop.
gentlemen, we're here Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then, of course, we come back 7 o'clock Central with InfoWars Nightly News. John McAfee, the legendary anti-virus software engineer and mogul, is here in studio. Who is McAfee.com is his very interesting and informative website. So you can go there and check that out. And it has lots of guns. We're going to talk to John in a minute before we get back into his new device he's developing. Sounds very interesting. During the break, he was telling me about it. We went down with an open carry at the Alamo, over 1,000 people with guns Saturday, and it made national news. That was certainly fun, to openly exercise our right to self-defense and deprogram all these people who think you shouldn't own guns. We'll talk to him about guns as well. Before we go any further, don't forget we have InfoWarsStore.com. And this broadcast is listener-supported. So I sell the very best products that I've researched, that I believe in, that I think are high quality for you and your family at the lowest prices, like Pro One, Pro Pure, stainless steel systems, the entire family of Pro Pure systems, the lowest price anywhere already. 10% off, promo code WATER at InfoWarsStore.com. Or call toll-free 888-253-3139 if you have any questions or comments or want to order over the phone. Or you can also find out the listings and prices online and then order via snail mail at P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. And, of course, there's hundreds of books and films and hard-to-get titles at InfoWarsStore.com as well. And there's InfoWarsHealth.com and InfoWarsLife.com. with all the great products like InfoWarsLife.com and our maiden product, deep research for years on this with scientists like Dr. Group. And I went and did the research, filed at the National Academy of Sciences, you name it. This is the only nascent iodine that's put through this patented system to atomize it down to its absolute most basic elemental form of atomic iodine. And let me tell you, it is something else. So, InfoWarsLife.com. It is sold out. We'll have more in about 2 weeks. So get in line to get it shipped out to you first. I'm sorry. They had to expand the size of their FDA-approved laboratory to be able to supply us. They've never seen anything like this. And so it's great. We're getting high-quality products out and funding our operation. It was just a little 40-year scientific, specialist installation that we had to do this. They weren't ready to mass produce it. But that is now happening. InfoWarsLife.com, or as I said, 888-253-3139. John McAfee is here with us, and whoismcafee.com is his site. So we got cut off by the break. You were getting into your device. I mean, if you tell the audience as much as you can tell them. You were telling me quite a bit, but I don't know if that was in confidence, about how revolutionary but also simple this is going to be and what it's going to do.
The device is basically a hardware device that interfaces with your smartphone. You carry it in your pocket. It has no screen. It has an on-off switch and a little light to show that the battery is running, and that's it. And we have an application that runs on your iPhone or your Android phone that when you want to switch from the internet to the secure network, you press a button, and then you're now in our network, which is anybody else who has one of these devices within a quarter of a mile, you're communicating. And if you're in a city or a college campus, there may be thousands of those that are close by. It's an information sharing network. It's a file sharing network.
So it's like a new internet or a private.
Like a new internet, and it'll start out small, of course, because everyone won't have these things. But eventually, I mean, you switch from the current internet to the secure internet over and over and over. And to begin with, you might not be able to communicate with someone in India. But after a year, when we get enough of these and the information is relayed, then it'll be just like the internet.
But it'll be able to get on the net as the first reason to then protect your identity. That's
absolutely. It protects your identity, and when you're on the secure part of the network, no one knows who you are. All of the data is encrypted, and it's encrypted by a technique that the NSA has not been involved in, so they can't break it, they can't get into it, and neither the sender nor the receiver.
Let me guess, does it have to deal with holograms?
It does not, no, sir.
Okay.
If it did, I wouldn't tell you, would I?
No, I was talking to my dad about this, and he said, I bet it's a hologram interface or something. My dad's smarter than I am in some ways, but go ahead.
No, so I'm not going to say, for the simple reason.
No, obviously don't say.
We don't want people to know. So it's going to be very secure. So neither the NSA, nor the CIA, nor the FBI, nor Army Intelligence, nor anyone can find out who you're talking to, what you're saying, and what you're exchanging, which is really what we should have that right anyway.
Now you're a trailblazer in your own right, obviously, but other great minds are going to hear this, or they probably already thought of it. Even if they try to stop you selling this here domestically, it's going to be a huge international market, and then other people are going to make clones or knockoffs, and then other technologies. They're not going to be able to stop this.
Well, they may stop me temporarily, of course. You know, they may say you can't sell this, and I'll say fine. You know, your control stops at your boundaries. You have Canada and Mexico and the ocean. I'll sell it everywhere else. It will have to get here eventually. Any technology which is beneficial will eventually get here. We know that. It just may take time. The music industry is going to raise hell and complain. The movie industry is going to complain. But, you know, the intellectual property has been way overplayed by them for the past 10 years.
Well, think about it. They're trying to get world treaties that end free speech globally. For them, they are encroaching on our rights in the name of their rights. I'm sick of it.
Absolutely. And so they are shutting down operations that are valid, useful things for it's like shutting down telephones because criminals are using it to covertly rob banks or whatever. It's insane. We can't protect ourselves to the point that we can't even use technology.
Well, folks used to hack with a telephone. I mean, do you ban using telephones?
That's right. In fact, the first one to do so was a gentleman named Captain Crunch, who got these little whistles from the captain, and he learned how to make tones on it for the old telephone so that he could make free long-distance calls. And that was the first telephone hacking. Well, we didn't shut down the phones because of that. We didn't. We just arrested him. Isn't that the sensible thing to do? But now they're wanting us to shut down technologies like file sharing, which is very useful for everything. You have files, you've got photographs that you take on vacation that you want to share with your friends. You put it out in the cloud and they can share it. Well, do you want to stop that because people can put music that they haven't paid for on the net? And
that's right. You can't have prior restraint. You know, I ran into anti-gun people at our Alamo open carry this Saturday, and they said, you know, my daughter got shot at Aurora. And I said, I'm sorry for your daughter, but statistically, crimes using guns are down 49% because of good guys having guns, Justice Department numbers. They didn't even deny that, but they still said, well, it's still gun owners' fault this happened. And I said, if somebody stabs somebody, is it the knife maker's fault? Or if I sell somebody a car and they drive down the road and kill somebody, this putting the guilt on us when we didn't do it, it's just crazy.
Well, you know,
it's an authoritarianism.
Absolutely. I've owned and carried guns ever since I was 12 when my father took me hunting for the first time. And he taught me how to handle guns properly and not to point them at people and how to load them and unload them. And seriously, for the past 10 years, I have never been without a gun except when I shower. And when I get paranoid sometimes, I don't shower, so my wife complains, you know. So, and I've never pointed a gun at anyone, certainly never shot at anybody. But it is, to me, a deterrent. If we all carried guns, I lived in a town called Rodeo, New Mexico, a small town of a couple of hundred people. Everybody was armed there. Everybody.
I love it.
Well, they never had a problem. They never had a robbery in the grocery store. They never had anything. I mean, a criminal coming through town that, you know, pulls a gun out at a cafe, all the customers are going to pull a gun. The
criminals are on record that they don't go to small towns and rural areas because they know.
They know. And so what's wrong with that? And there's no violent crime there. We all carried guns, but I never saw a gun pulled and pointed.
Well, you asked permission if you could, you know, like, hey, I'm bringing a gun. We're like, well, you better.
Right, that's what they said. So don't try anything here, they said. We're all armed.
Well, no, but I mean, for us, it's like having a pencil or a coffee cup. It's a tool.
I sleep with mine. Now, I stopped sleeping with it in my hand for obvious reasons, okay? But I sleep.
Oh, then it gets all lonely.
Yeah, you know what? But nightmares and things like that, it's pretty scary. My current wife said, no more. It's not going to be in your hand anymore. And I said, if I lay it next to me here on the bed, that's okay. But I'm always with a gun. And why not? I mean, the criminals have guns. And,
well, off record, you've had a lot of issues. I mean, they're obviously.
Of course, and I, you know, I mean, for a month and a half, the Belizean government was actively trying to shoot me, and you know, why shouldn't I carry guns, and why shouldn't I be able to protect myself?
Well, why are they allowed to have guns, but we aren't?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? And here's the thing: if you pass a law saying we can't have guns, I promise you, the criminals don't care. They're already breaking the law. Do you think they care if they're carrying an illegal weapon? That's so absurd. So we're not going to take it out of the hands of the people who are going to do damage with guns. We're taking it out of the hands of people who protect themselves from those people who are trying to do damage. So I don't know. And you know, I'm going to have my gun in my hand except when I'm sleeping, or in my pocket, or I've got one here now, obviously. You know, as long as I can, because it's my right.
But I mean, it goes back to rural areas where you had grizzly bears or the immigrants were fighting with the natives. I mean, it came down to you better have a gun on you or you could get killed.
Or you would get killed. It's a fact of life. I mean, you know, the world is a dangerous place, especially outside of our comfort.
Well, here's my issue. We're not worried about death threats around here and stuff, because somebody ever tries to come around here with something, I mean, anybody wants to carry a gun in their briefcase or CHL, you name it, folks are packing around here.
Right.
And that's just the way it is, and it's peaceful, it's happy, and everybody's friendly.
Right. If someone does come in here, I'll stand with you with my gun, all right? So.
We're ready right now. I mean, here you go. We're all ready to go. You know, I like revolvers myself, just because they're, you know.
No, I do too, and I prefer the hammerless.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that's what you had.
But, well, I've got all kinds of guns, and I carry different guns for different occasions. It's loaded.
Here, I'll let you.
I notice yours is not.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. I like a 357, just because in stressful situation.
Well, it's loaded. I didn't see
Oh, yeah. The 357, you know, in a stressful situation is good. It's got the best penetration for something like this.
No question, but that's a little lighter to carry and small.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So, and the hammerless variety, you know, so many times you pull your gun out of your pocket, not to point it at someone, just at the end of the day, and the hammer gets caught on your pocket.
But look at our guns. They're friendly. They're hanging out together right there. We get a document cam shot on that. In fact, we'll put them over here by you, and they can just have some time together. There you go.
Then. All right, then.
Look at that. That's like powerful. They're like exchanging.
I have some 357s, too. I tell you what, the finest little carry gun is the new Ruger, that little micro 380. I know it doesn't carry a bunch of a punch, but, you know. It's,
now, one of my friends' wives carries that in her purse.
Yeah. Well, I carry one in each pocket sometimes because they're so light you can't see them. You don't even know you're carrying them. You know, 7 rounds, 380. 380 is not a bad gun. James Bond used the Beretta 380. Remember that in the first James Bond movie? They tried to give him a different gun.
You're like an adventurer, aren't you?
What
made you go down to Belize?
I guess adventure. Why not? You know, I think we might live once, just once. And if that's the case, I don't want to miss anything. I don't miss anything, Alex.
Without getting into your security and things, you're traveling around the U.S. right now?
I am. I'm traveling with security. And because of an incident that happened recently, I've beefed it up, and I'm traveling with some very serious security now.
I did notice that. Well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
But I mean, going back, obviously, you were a computer programmer. I think worked at NASA and places, going over your bio. I mean, do you have any shadowy background that you think they might be after you for?
You know,
I mean, not shadowy bad, but secretive stuff.
Well, I mean, I had a top secret security clearance for a while when I worked at NASA, and I did work on some black programs, but nothing that anyone would want to off me for. I think my biggest concern is Belize. You know, I ran afoul of the Belizean government, and I came back and I stated some things that maybe should not have been stated. That the Prime Minister ordered the death of Arthur Young, that John Saldivar was selling passports illegally. This is the Minister of National Security. He's in charge of the Army and the police, and of course the Prime Minister is in charge of everything. Well, they're not happy about that, and they're afraid that if I provide more evidence, the entire government will unravel. So obviously, I have to think that maybe in the back of their minds they would feel better if I wasn't here.
I know you talk.
Is that paranoia? May I ask you?
No, I don't think that's paranoia. I mean, knowing what goes on in the government of Belize, what it's used for, how famously piratical it is. I don't know about those individuals, but I know that certainly I would be concerned if I had the entire Belizean mafia-style government angry at me.
Right, and the other thing is that they have a longer reach than you might imagine. For example, there are American businesses that would love to do business in Belize for a lot of reasons. You can do illegal things there if you pay the right people, and your profits can soar. And in fact, the Belizean soccer team came to Portland, where I live, in July. And that's kind of weird, isn't it, to play soccer? And with them, there was an American businessman who had a private jet who was flying around John Saldivar, and 2 other people, the head of the press office in Belize and a city councilman named Dean Samuels. And, you look at that and you think, well, I don't know, why did they come to my city? Why did the head of national security come to my town way up there, So I'm thinking, well, I don't know, maybe I should be cautious. And I am cautious.
I don't call that paranoia.
Well, I don't.
You'd be stupid if you weren't.
I would
concerned.
be stupid. And so as a result, when I go somewhere, people arrive in advance. They check things out. They look to see if anything unusual is happening. I change venues constantly. I tell them I'm going to be staying at one hotel and check into another. And when I arrive with some serious security.
Well, I mean, going back to Belize, you were talking about Muslims and certain countries and Ryerson. It was nowhere in the press, and then it had to be 4 months later. Exactly what you said about that came out, and you said that's one of the reasons they were after you. I mean, do you now know, have you figured out of all the reasons why you think folks were after you?
They're after me because of what I knew, because, you know, when they raided my compound in Orange Walk in May, shot my dog in front of my eyes, did $500,000 worth of damage, kept me handcuffed in the sun for 14 hours. By the way, I don't recommend that as something to do for fun, Alex.
No, that hurts.
That does hurt, believe me. I tried not to whimper the whole day, and I didn't. And then left, and then came back and said, you know, you're going to, are you going to reconsider giving us a donation to the party? And I go, no, I'm not. I went to the press. At that point, I started handing out presents, computers that I had my own software on just to monitor things, okay? I gave them to all the government ministers and their secretaries and their aides, and that's how I found out what was happening.
So you gave them a Trojan horse.
I did.
You made them think they'd won. You started giving them goodies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just like the general public, they just take devices.
They take devices. They don't think. They don't think, well, who is this man? Well, I'm John McAfee, for heaven's sake. I invented computer security. You think I can't turn on your microphone on your laptop in your office and watch what you're doing? That's so trivial. Anybody can do it. So maybe in retrospect, it may have been a mistake.
Because then you learned all the secrets. You were like your own private NSA.
I learned all the stuff that's going on, and it was scary. And then I came back, and I made the mistake of actually telling it on the blog. And so, yeah, you know, you would be paranoid too if you know, these people came up to your town and some shady American businessman with a private jet flying them all over America, showing up in your town. It's like, whoa. So, you know, maybe the next time I'm on your show, we will discuss this in greater detail. It might make a really nice show.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you,
because an event did actually happen recently that caused me to more than double my security and start asking a bunch of very hard questions.
I bet they're not happy they messed with you, though.
Yeah, you know.
If they wouldn't have done that to your dog and all that stuff, would everything be fine?
If they hadn't shot my dog, I think we could have fixed this. But you don't shoot my dogs. My dogs are family. You know, I don't know how you feel about animals, but, you know, a dog is...
Oh, I love dogs.
Well, you know, they're a member of the family. They provide protection. And
I think they're maybe the best members of my family.
Well, so they're certainly the most loyal members.
Exactly.
I promise you, he's never going to turn on you.
Exactly. We'll be right back. Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
My name is Josh. One World Way is the best in the market, hands down. I'm in the U.S. Navy, and I live a very active lifestyle. Being a vegetarian, it's hard getting all the protein I need. I tried the vegan protein powders, and I just wasn't feeling any change. The meathead supplement store whey protein kind of worked for a bit, but it left me feeling bloated, and my digestion seemed to slow down. By some divine stroke of luck, I heard a commercial of One World Whey on the radio, and it struck my interest. I have to tell you, I am so glad I got it. I have been taking it for a week, and the results are amazing. I don't feel tired when I have to get up at 4:30 a.m. I look and feel better. I recover faster from my 2 workouts a day. When I don't have time to eat good food, I take it, and I don't feel the urge to stuff my face for hours. I got up this morning, and I looked the leanest I've looked since high school. I can go on and on. The best I can do to repay you is buy more and tell my friends.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Technology is rapidly increasing, to say the least. Some people like Ray Kurzweil believe that there's going to be a singularity. I believe you'll have a singularity in information and news first, or something approximating that, something getting close to it, where no matter what the system does, they're not going to be able to hide stuff anymore. And when they try to put out disinfo, that's going to be exposed. And that's already happening. The Pentagon PSYOPs head came out a few months ago and said they're in deep trouble. They're ordered to lie to the public, and the public's catching them. And the Pentagon said, we want to stop lying. And there were people freaking out during the Pentagon briefing that was streamed on the internet, getting up saying, we don't want to lie anymore. I mean, it was real.
Sure.
But I think at the higher level, they told them to do it to try to get people's confidence to go, we promise we won't lie anymore. But here is Ray Kurzweil, one of the Google execs, saying, meet the Google executive who plans to cheat death. Ray Kurzweil takes 150 vitamins a day so he can hold out long enough for invention of robots that will keep humans alive. Now, whether this is real or not, in my film Endgame that I made 7 years ago, I show all the quotes. They say humans are bad. They're going to establish world government, forcibly reduce world population. They're going to merge with machines and live forever. I didn't say that, as the New York Times said. I was quoting Kurzweil and others. Here he is back in the news today. This is the Daily Mail. What do you think of these things? Because whether it's feasible down the road or not, these people are maniacs who are anti-human. What is your take on it?
Well, you know, in one respect, I admire Kurzweil because he.
I do too.
He developed some great music, or musical devices.
And the copying machine, or a bunch of other stuff.
I'm not sure about the copying machine.
Well, a modern one.
He's a
Scanner.
Right, he's a brilliant man. There's no question about it. Yeah, I don't want to merge with the machine, quite frankly. I would rather become a little more human than I even am. I think we become machines by spending our days watching the television instead of watching the world around us.
I agree.
And I think that there's so much of modern life which turns us into machines that why bother making a mechanical device to connect with us? We're already halfway machines. I'd like to go the other way. And let's get a little more human. You know, let's have more personal face-to-face communication, and let's get out and shoot or do what we like to do, or just get some fresh air, jog around the block. How much of that is happening these days? It's less and less and less. And when it does happen, it's structured and it's formalized. So, you know, as I said,
it's called quality time, to take your kids out in nature.
Right. Well, quality time should be every moment of life, as I understand it, every single moment. And if you're not having quality time 24 hours a day, do something else, Alex.
I agree. The revolution against tyrants is having fun, having friends, and not being in the cookie-cutter system.
That's it. Exactly. You know, getting into real life. And take some risks, because to have any quality time is risky. It means you've got to get off of your comfortable sofa, out of your safe, secure house, and into a world which is unpredictable and unknown. It's a mystery. Well, isn't that how things were when you were a kid? Wasn't it great to get out and explore the mystery of life, the mystery of the world?
Absolutely. Going to a friend's house and going out in the woods.
You bet.
Sneaking on some farmer's ranch and
picking strawberries in your neighbor's backyard at night, without them knowing. Whatever. It's an adventure. It's life as it should be. We should all be children again.
They're trying to insert us into these bubbles where they bombard us with nothing but their propaganda to keep us from seeing the wider universe.
All right. Well, that's how they control us. See. If you see the wider universe, you're going to ask questions, aren't you? Like, what the hell are you saying? You're giving us garbage about Obamacare. But if all we get is the news, some of us are going to believe it. You can fool all of the people some of the time. But you're talking about singularities. You can't fool all the people all the time.
What do you think of a singularity? I mean, do you think that really will come?
I think it's happened in many cases. I think this is evidence of it here. We have something which is so obviously broken and improper that the president is saying, well, this is what I expected. It meets expectations.
So it's a con artist singularity.
Absolutely. It's like a magician, doing a trick. Don't watch what the left hand is doing. And if we don't watch what the left hand is doing, we go, wow.
Hold on, we got a 1-minute break. I got to do 5 minutes overdrive. John McAfee's our guest. Who is McAfee.com. Wow. This guy's really interesting.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Man, this Obamacare video, we've got it up on Infowars.com of this woman falling over. She's acting like a zombie. I mean, it's just getting weirder and weirder. And at his events, women will start collapsing everywhere like he's Elvis Presley. I mean, it's getting weird. Was fainting woman Obamacare staged event? Steve Watson asked up on Infowars.com. Bizarre mind control caught on camera with a woman saying that Congress is the devil. She's like programmed and goes into some trance. I don't usually cover stuff like this, but it's so weird. Top Democrat opens the door for Social Security cuts, Kurt Nimmo. I never got to this today, but we'll play it on the Nightly News or get Mark Dice on tomorrow. Americans sign petition to support Nazi-style Orwellian police state. They're asked that if it's for Obama. So it's what you were just saying before the break. John McAfee, legendary programmer and the inventor of antivirus software. The whole concept is here with us. We only got 4 minutes left. You were talking about the singularity of BS we've reached, where now they say this Obamacare is wonderful. The site works better than we thought. Are they trying to overthrow reality by almost polluting things with so much disinfo? People kind of go into learned helplessness?
Well, at first they do, but I think you're going to find something else. The common man ultimately is smarter than we give them credit for. At some point, everyone is going to look at each other and think, wait a minute. The emperor has no clothes. It doesn't matter. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, he's dressed," and the child's going to say, "Look, the emperor's naked." The old story, and someone's going to say, "Wait a minute, he just said that this thing is perfect, it's just as expected," and the world is saying it's broken. So at some point, we're all going to look at each other and go, "All right, it is bullshit, isn't it?" And trust me, that's what will happen. And that's when the overthrow, I don't mean the armed overthrow. I mean, we go to the polls and we recall everybody. And
a mental overthrow. A mental overthrow.
A mental overthrow. And then we look at ourselves and we take responsibility and realize what we've done. We have allowed this to happen through fear. We're afraid of the terrorists. We're afraid of the Muslims. We're afraid of everything. And we've allowed to be created the Homeland Security and the Transportation Security Administration, and all the things that, I have to get halfway undressed every time I come, like to get here. Halfway undressed to go through security. Well, that's really bizarre. And at some point we go, no, wait a minute. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. Recall these people. Boot them out of office. Let's change what's happening. We are Americans. We still have a Constitution. Let's adhere to it, and let's make use of it. We have the right. You think we can't recall our congressman? We can. Go to the polls, sign some petitions, get things changed.
I agree with you. We've only got about a minute and a half left. John McAfee here visiting us in Austin, Texas. I think this has been a legendary interview. Whoismcafee.com is your website. Any other points that after this interview's over you wish you would have made?
You know, I think none, other than, you know, when the music industry does rise up against me, when this product comes out and says this is a dangerous product, you know, make your voices heard.
I think they're dangerous, trying to bully our freedom,
of course, and
preemptively tie us up because we might do something wrong.
Absolutely. They've allowed so many technologies to die because they were a threat to that industry. Well, I want those technologies. I would like to have the right to freely share information. Let me do that. The risk, if there's a risk, well, that's too bad.
Well, if I commit something, then I get in trouble. You don't, like John McCain said, they'll remote control kill your computer if they think you've downloaded a song illegally with no judge or jury. They'll destroy your computer with no proof because they feel like it.
Of course. Why not? I mean, they have the power. That's the issue. They have the idea. Well, why not? I'm doing it for the better good of everybody. Like, I know what you need, Alex, and I'm going to do what's right for you. Don't you worry about thinking and choosing things for yourself. I will decide because we know what's right. Well, they don't know what's right.
Well, that's called slavery.
That's indeed. Slavery in every aspect. It starts with mental slavery, where we actually believe the nonsense that we're being
Amazing. John McAfee, good to know you personally. Folks, Lord willing, we'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock Central, InfoWars Nightly News. Get your subscriptions at prisonplanet.tv. And for everybody, we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, with the syndicated radio broadcast. Obamacare is a dud, even if he says it isn't. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination.
www.5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-70